Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Junior Pastor Testimonies. My name is Jacob, and today I have a good friend, Dianté, with me. Say hi.
Hello, hello.
So I'm a first year seminarian right now, and he's a what, fourth?
Fourth year.
Fourth year. So I met him in, I guess, pastoral care counseling, or like we kind of met before.
The summer days.
Oh, the sermon day. That's right. Yeah. So I initially met him there, but when I got admitted, that's when I really got to know his full character. So he's got a really great testimony to share with us. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, how old you are, all that.
Yeah. So I'm Minister Dianté Dancy. I was born in Urban Gresham on the south side of Chicago. The Chi-Town, the home of Michael Jordan and stuff like that, Derrick Rose, But yeah, you just want to keep talking about the story, go to the testimony.
I think let's see. I think gotta just keep going.
Yeah. Let's see. I got some hobbies I love. I'm a poet. I write poetry. I'm a literature geek.
He says sophisticated.
Yeah. I'm also a history geek, so don't let me ramble on about history. I try to ear.
Do you have like a specific part of history or history in general?
I love Christian history.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like faith stories in those Christian histories. And there are brothers and sisters, both the good and the bad. So the good you take the wisdom, the bad you just reconcile with. Let's see what else. Outside of my ministerial duties, I'm most definitely, you call me a dork, a geek, whatever. I play the video games. I like chilling with friends, doing goofy stuff. I'm a person all about laughter. So if we could laugh together, trust me, you on the close side of the friendship. Which Jacob has obviously found out recently.
Very much so.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the dark humor, but we live in a messed up world, so why not?
A fallen and depraved world.
Yeah. Let's see. I got some fun facts. So like I got 10 siblings.
Wow. What? Dang. Oh, jeez.
I'm number 4. So I'm like the 4th oldest, but I'm the one that everybody kind of looks up to. Maybe because me being a minister in the church. But yeah, 10 siblings, all mostly boys, 3 girls. So it starts with a girl, there's a girl in the middle, and then it ends with a girl. All between them is boys, and this is why I like to live alone.
Are your siblings like spread out across America? Are they centralized?
Yeah, so we're all from Chicago, but my sister's in Tennessee with her husband and her 2 kids. My brother's in Illinois. He's north of Chicago somewhere with his girlfriend, and he has a daughter. He has 2 daughters. Where's my brother? My brother's with my dad in Indianapolis. Then I have my other siblings live with their mom somewhere. So we don't share the same mom. My dad, again, he was a Rolling Stone, 4 baby mamas, So, and I hope he don't have no more because I can't do another sibling.
Yeah, that's a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are there still any in Chicago or?
Yeah. Who's in Chicago? I got 2 brothers in Chicago still. Now everybody else is in Illinois or again, my dad and my brother are in Indiana, and my sister's in Tennessee. Yeah, so and I'm the only one up here. I dipped.
Came to the Pacific Northwest.
I love it.
I'm actually very curious to see how you got here, but let's start off with, I guess, your childhood and how you were raised.
Yeah. So I'll say, unfortunately, my childhood started pretty dark. So, and there's a lot of trauma there. So I had a brother named Jakari who died. I was 5, he was 4 years old.
Oh wow!
But he was murdered, and so ever since 5 years old, I've kind of like had this image of like just a dark world,
May I ask like how that happened? Like gang violence or
not gang violence? Unfortunately, and I might not get into too many details because it's confusing, but I would say allegedly murdered by my own mother.
Oh wow!
And I mean, if you like type in my name on Google, like after all like the church stuff, you will start to see my name pop up in news articles and stuff like that about a boy dying, mother killed on wrongful conviction, all that stuff.
Oh wow! So this was pretty famous back then, like when it
Back
happens.
then, it was I don't remember the date. I think 2005.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was big. I mean, I remember going through the trials and stuff.
Wow.
I always laugh at this part because if you know me, my favorite superhero is Spider-Man.
Mm.
And one of the reasons why my testimony at the on in the trial never really was like went through because 6 year old, no, I was 5. Oh, do you believe in Spider-Man? Yeah. Do you believe in Santa Claus? Absolutely. Now I grew up because I'm just like, well, Spider-Man's still weird, real to me.
Sure.
But yeah, I lost a brother. Said my mom did it, and she's out on wrongful conviction. And I mean, it's a complicated story there. And so I'll even say, even after that, my childhood was very short lived.
Mm.
So yeah, I went through like some days of like not even knowing my brother Shakari was dead because I didn't know what death meant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as time went on, like, I try to like be a kid, go outside, play, stuff like that. I was a very creative kid too. I would like try to like make fake comic books. So I'll like wrap some paper, draw, write a story, tape it together, staple it together. And I'm like, nah, I got books. I'm making books, right? That's just that creative mind. I don't make books no more. I just stick to words and poetry. That's the easiest I could do. But yeah, it was just very short lived, especially in Chicago where, gang recruitment start very early. And I mean, like it could start like 5th, 6th grade, to be honest, and not intentionally, but it just kind of like flows in that way.
Just kind of the culture.
Yeah, it's the culture, it's the environment. Like, especially if your family was in a gang. Some people, I know, like some people back in the hood who their dad, was like, an OG in the hood, and they followed their dad footsteps, and about time the dad or even the mom recognizing what's going on, it's too late. Because that person already got acquainted with the people around in the same gang, and then it just takes it, toll from there.
Would you say your family was gang affiliated at this point, or?
Yeah, my family is so Chicago. My family is particularly the older heads were vice lords, and like the younger folks were like Blackstone, which technically is under the same 5 point star. So they're like brothers, in a way. Both gangs are brothers to each other in a way. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, I'll say my childhood, like from 6th grade, was like from 1st to 5th grade was like my childhood. It's like, I call it like, oh yeah, the childhood of like a kid could be a kid. After 5th grade, that changed, and that's why I say like, yeah, that's when the environment started to catch up with me, right?
Yeah.
So what? 6th grade, I went to school, like, and again, the gang activities, they just flow right in. And I wasn't following my dad's footsteps, even though he was a vice lord, but again, the environment, the people you're around, like everybody's connected to a gang. And I just fell right into that trap. And so like 6th grade, I was like gang banging, I was doing stuff, and I'll say I was always a follower. I wasn't a leader back then. And so yeah, I would like do what everybody else is doing. Your friends is like, oh yeah, they throwing down the rates. Just say a GDK. Like, I want to do the same thing, be the same gang, whatever, right? And then and I was also smoking weed too, so I was smoking a lot of weed. Then came 7th grade, that's when I took a step forward to do even more. I started stealing drugs and selling those same drugs that I was stealing.
Okay.
And I almost got arrested because we had it in school. Dumb kids, never got caught, surprisingly. It's amazing to me how I never got caught. Then, me and my friend had a gun. We had a 357 Python that we found from somebody else running from the police. And we kept it. And somebody found out that we had it. We had it in the school. And black communities, we don't like bring it to the school to do school shootings and nothing like that. It's more so to brag. Either brag or it's a protection from after school when you're walking home type of thing. But again, principal found out, brought the police up, and they was looking for the gun, and again, never didn't get caught. Surprisingly, we never got caught, and we got searched real hard. But that's why I said kids can be a little clever at times, right? And then I think 8th grade, it took a turn because so when my brother died, me and my dad moved with my grandma. And so we was in her house. That's where I grew up. That's where I call like my original home. But she had cancer, pancreatic cancer.
You're good.
And yeah, pancreatic
Wow.
cancer. Yeah. And she died December 23rd, 2012. So 2 days before Christmas. Um, and it was interesting because that first half of eighth grade, I was like, okay, I'm like, no, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm gonna try to slowly step away from like the gang life stuff like that. And this again, I'm eighth grade,
Yeah.
right? I'm like eighth grade having these thoughts. And when my grandma died, like I had this state of depression, family, they smoke and drink to deal with the pain, they bickering over stuff. And I was just like angry. I was angry, I was depressed. And home didn't feel like home. And I even like had some I wish I was more grateful to my grandma at the time because I don't think I was in her last moments. And so I think that kind of hit me hard, right? And so, what does a kid always take their anger out if they can't do it at home? They either go to school and take their anger out, or in Chicago, you go to the streets. And so that first half of eighth grade, I'm like, okay, I might need to make a switch. Like, is this game like what I want to do? I don't want to do it. But then me being angry, depressed when my grandma died, I'm like 11, 12 years old, 13 maybe. And I just took my anger on the street. So when I was trying to get out, I dove myself more into gang life. And so that's when I would say from eighth grade to sophomore year of high school, man, the things I was doing was, I'll say this: I never did anything bad in the school. No, that's a lie. I did those things. I most definitely got to like gang fights in school and stuff like that, but not necessarily in high school. Typically was a good kid in high school, but in school. But once I got out of school, I was like, no, I'm a different Dianté.
Two different Diantés.
Yeah, two different living a double life,
Good student Dianté.
Good student Dianté. This is what I want the teachers to see, and this is what I want the hood to see, But yeah, between eighth grade year and sophomore year, man, I dove deeper with my anger. I was smoking way more weed. I was getting into way more gang fights. Like I remember I was going to an altercation with one of the Chicago police officers. Yeah, you could say there was like a little racism there. But either way, like I was thinking about hitting the police officer.
Yeah.
Because he put his hand on my neck because they was looking for some gun that I had nothing to do with. And again, I'm just angry, so he put his hand on his neck, and I just wanted to hit him. Thank God I didn't because I would have had a felony.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was like into gang fights. I was robbing people. I was like beating people up. I would like hide some of my my homies from running from police, or they did something. I hold the guns for them. And again, I was just like a follower. Like I ain't gonna say I was like the top dude people want to follow. Like no, I was not that. I was the follower. And then I say sophomore year is where it kind of changed for me a little bit. And in high school, I had a different set of friends like that I was getting to know more and stuff like that. I wouldn't say they were like fully solid yet. They were getting there.
Yeah.
But closer to when we lost my grandma's house, before I moved with my mom, who was out of jail at the time, I was in my own backyard. And again, like I was doing crazy things. Like I was like, again, gang fights, get so many altercations, robbing people. We knew who the opposite gang was. And so sophomore year, I just remember, home is chaotic, there's stuff going on. So I'm just in the backyard, my own backyard, chilling. And I was sitting down, I just had like my phone, when you feel outside, the bright light just come up and stuff.
Yeah.
And somebody tried to shoot me in my own backyard.
Oh my.
And honestly, when I look back at it now, he emptied a whole clip on me.
Jeez.
And I should have been dead. But surprisingly, he hit the garbage can. Now, at my time, I was like, man, I'm just lucky, And once I heard the clip empty, I ran to the front door because I didn't want to get caught trying to go in the back door and get shot.
Sure.
And my initial reaction was to call on the guys, get a gun, and shoot back. And but while that was what I wanted to do, it never happened because my dad, my biological dad, he stepped in. And my dad, he know the gang life stuff like that. He probably done worse than I did. But it was either he was in full protective dad mode, right? So he's either I'm a kid who's gonna try to kill my son, or I'm gonna go to jail to protect my son so he don't have to do it. And he let me out of sight for a whole week. And I was like, man, like, I'll try to get out of sight so many times. I'm just like, but he would not let me out of sight. So like, he'll like make sure I get back from school. He'll call somebody to pick me up. I'm like, nah, like, like let me go, right? But because he did that, like my anger kind of like slowed down. And I was like, and I had the moment where I'm like, yo, like I could have been dead. Like, how long I want to stay in this? And I think from that moment, especially when we lost the house, like I just kind of solely left. Like I think a part of me still wanted to be in it, but like over time, as that time went on, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. And that's when I started to hang with my friends who were in high school a lot more. We got closer. I mean, we're still close to this day, especially my boy Robert. We so close, we're like brothers now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we at the time we were still idiots, but we weren't like getting into like legal trouble, like all the time. We were just doing goofy stuff and like here and there. So if we did get in trouble legally, it was more so like just being stupid kids, not gang violence, right? But like man, like now when I look back at it, I mean, I should have been dead because you think about bullets in a garbage can. Those bullets should have went through the garbage can, but they didn't. And so now I look back, I'm like, oh my, now God saved me, literally saved me from like I could have been laid out dead in my own backyard. And I've like been around like guns and like seen people get shot and blood on the ground. A lot of my homies from the hood today are dead, or dead or in jail or struggling to make ends meet, or some of them like two of them are like now just like okay, I gotta change my life they got kids now. But yeah, no, I mean that was just that life in Chicago, and not to like really make a decision like, man, I don't want to do this no more. And I mean, mentally, it took a while to get out of there, but eventually, I got out of there. But I mean, I just thank God every day, like, oh, that didn't happen because I was supposed to be dead. But now I get to sit here in front of you and just talk my testimony. So,
praise God.
No, yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
Was it hard to? I've heard stories of like people trying to get out of the gang life, but there are things that hold them back or commitments that they've made where if they were to go out and make, I don't know, maybe your family might get threatened or that type of thing. Like, was that occurring when you tried to leave or?
A little bit. I wouldn't say fully. Because one thing is like, yeah, if y'all lost a house, like you just lost a house. So like I wasn't even in that neighborhood no more.
Oh, yeah.
And so to the effort to travel back to the neighborhood from where I was living, I was like, it's too much. And over time again, I just like I didn't go back. But I mean it's hard. So like technically I'm like still a black stone. Like I was in the gang, like so I never got jumped out. And I remember getting jumped in. You stand at your 5-point stance and you just like you got like some of the OGs and stuff just hitting you in the chest.
Oh wow.
Like it hurts. And so think about getting jumped out. Like, they gotta really beat you up to get you out. But typically, realistically, like some people just leave. Like you don't get jumped out, you just leave because of circumstances. And that was mine. It's like I left because of circumstances. We couldn't pay the house. We lost the house.
They don't like track you down or anything. Or...
It ain't like that.
How nice of them.
Yeah.
That's good.
And so, and I mean, like, it took a while, but like I'll go back and I'll just like, try to like get into trouble, stuff like that. And then I realized like after a while, like maybe 2 years since I've been gone from the hood, like, some new people came in and something was happening on Facebook and I posted on Facebook status, and, like people change quick. Like, everybody ain't your homie. Like the people you thought were homies, like, no, they snakes too.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, I remember people threatening me because it was like, oh yeah, you ain't Blackstone just because I didn't live there no more. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so like, it was like, I'll say like BS and stupid, but I mean, yeah, some people, I didn't go back like once I hit college because I'm like, nah, like some people still remember my face and I remember some people's faces who I don't like. And I ain't trying to be around that. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's a little bit like that, but again, it's like circumstantial.
I see.
Yeah. Now mentally, it's hard to get out of there.
Yeah.
Because like for a while, and even up to my senior year of high school, I really believed that like I was not going to make it out of Chicago. Like, and like for the longest, and I'm talking about like when family looked at me and was like, yeah, you're going to be the one to end up dead or in jail. Or, you're like the one that's like you think about like the prodigal son, right? And how, he left and like people probably gave him crap for it, right? Like for a lot of my family at the time, like they thought I was that prodigal son and I was never going to come back. And so at the same time, like people are feeling pity for me because like with my brother Jakari, my mom. And so yeah, mentally it's like, yeah, I thought I was gonna die way before I even finished high school. I thought I was gonna like come back to the hood. I was gonna stay in the hood. It's because that's all you know, especially when you get to that point where they feel like family.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of that because now you associate them with blood, like family, and it's hard to cut those ties unless something crazy happen. So yeah, like mentally, it took a while, but I got out of it. So yeah.
Do you think they would recognize you if you ever came back?
Nah,
No.
I don't think so. Maybe some of them, but like I mean, like small, like 2-3 people, but everybody else, nah.
Too long.
Too long. I look different.
Oh yeah. New hairstyle.
Hairstyle, couple mustache.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the people will probably recognize me as like the ones who like we grew up on the block together. And yeah, we had our different paths and stuff. But like, if we didn't grow up on the block together, you're probably not gonna remember me. Like, yeah, that's why I say like only 2-3 people for sure. I can say, yeah, they see me. Yeah, we're gonna remember each other. Everybody else won't, and I don't care for them to remember me. To be honest.
Yeah. Another question I had that I was thinking about when you were saying your story. Seems like your dad was very protective of you for sure. I guess for me, when I hear stories of, because you talked about earlier how you have 10 siblings.
Yeah.
I guess first, would you say you're close to your dad to this day, or?
Very close.
Yeah. And I guess for me, it's like when you have 10 children, I guess it's hard to, I guess for at least a dad to balance all that. You know what I mean? So I guess when I hear these type of stories, typically the dad is more distant from the children because he's got like so much to manage. Like, what do you think was, I guess, different with you? Yeah.
Yeah, so the difference is huge. So out of all my dad's kids, I was the first one to actually be raised by my dad.
Oh wow.
Now, I mean, there's issues here and there, and I don't know all the full stories between him and his baby mamas and stuff like this. But I mean, my dad's on child support from 2 of his baby mamas. But yeah, my dad didn't get the chance to raise on his other kids. He got the chance to, be in their life, but not to raise them. Now, due to the circumstances with my brother Jakari, me and my dad were always close, and he did to raise me, and then he had to like, forced to be a different person at that time. And I'll say me and my dad do share that trauma together of my little brother's death. Like I remember my dad in the hospital crying and stuff like that. Like, I remember like he dealt with it his way, I dealt with it my way, but like that trauma, like almost trauma bonding. But then also being the only one raised by him. And so yeah, I saw stuff that other people didn't. Like, I saw my dad like a lot of actually the way I talk sometimes, especially like if you see me on a daily basis when I go to the store, if I'm talking to like, the clerk at the gas station, I'm like, yo, like how you doing? Like, and I'm leaving, I'm like, all right, now you have a good day. Like that's something my dad did and I watched him do it. So I take on a lot of his personality to some extent. And his humor. But yeah, a lot of my other siblings didn't get to be raised by my dad. Now I have a little brother that's being raised by him now. But at the time when I was there, like, nah, it was just me. And so I saw like what other people said. I saw what other people didn't see my dad do. Because they hold on to who he used to be. They don't want to see what he's trying to do now. Which is typical in family drama, or even just outside of family drama. But no, yeah, that's why me and my dad are like tight.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. How old is he? Where is he now?
He's in Indianapolis. He is oh gosh, how old is he? Oh man, I'm bad with ages. Last time I called him 16, he told me to watch my mouth. No, he's like 56.
56?
Yeah.
When did you have your younger brother?
You said what?
When did he have your younger brother?
The one living with him now?
Yes.
Shamar was born when 20. No, I don't remember what he's born. He's 18 now.
Oh, he's 18.
Yeah,
that's been a while then.
So 18 years ago. Yeah.
Oh
yeah. But he's been with my dad since what? I mean, we grew up in the same house like when he was born and stuff, so he was with us. But he's like the second one I would say that's fully raised because he's still there with them. So yeah, quite some time. He's been with my dad for a while. Yeah. But he got a different version of my dad.
Oh,
he got the older version.
Oh, that's true.
He got the older version who don't got the energy and stuff like that. I got the younger almost a younger version of my dad.
Mm.
So that, like, me getting that haircut and almost being, skin bald. Yeah, my little brother didn't get that.
Mm.
My little brother got dreads. I remember I asked my dad, "Can I get dreads?" He's like, "No." So he just got a different version of my dad. Yeah.
I think another question I had was, we see all the time of gang violence, or either in the news, like polarized in the news, or like entertainment, like TV shows and all that. I'm kind of curious, do you see like misconceptions about I guess, the gang violence in Chicago, or just things in general that you feel like the media or entertainment might either like over polarize, that type of thing? Yeah. Curious about that.
Oh man, I have to say about that. I think there is misconceptions. I'll say, well, first of all, I think in Chicago, like what you see in the news about the homicides and stuff like that, how much it goes on, that's all true.
Mhm.
Like we get that many homicides. I'm not seeing the people. I know the people that do it. Like, yeah, it happens. I think the misconception is like always the why. It's like the why and how, and like some people even like think about like, oh, how can that be reconciled? Like, funny story. Somebody told me recently, asked me recently, like, oh, like, and they like, yeah, I used to be in the gang, and it was so innocent, but I was like, that's not. They asked me like, oh, like, do gangs like in their beef do dance battles, and I'm like,
Dance battles?
it's like, yeah,
That'd be nice.
I mean, it would be nice, but I was like, no. And she was like, oh, somebody else told me who was in there. I'm like, no, how you in beef, somebody's gonna die. I don't like it's not and I think that's like a misconception that they got from TV. It may be somewhere in history that has been that, but not in Chicago.
Wow.
Now we do have like our Chicago dances, but like that doesn't end gang violence. And I think the other part is like always the why of like when you think about like systematic racism and stuff like that, people are trying to fight the system. Like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, fight the system. Like, we want the system to be better. But I think, and I believe this in like my theology too, is that people get too often concerned about reconciliation through the system and think if they can fix the system, make the system better, then this issue over here can decrease or go away.
Yeah.
Reality, that's not true. And so the reality is like when you have such a broken system like that, that creates something like poverty where gang violence happens.
Sure.
Like, that violence is going to take up another form of itself. And so while it may have came from the broken system, when you fix the system, you're not fixing that because now the issue is different.
Yeah.
And so you think about gang violence, like yeah, there's probably like people don't have jobs, stuff like that causes some violence, right? But if I was to be honest, and I'm even speaking for myself, like, why does the violence continue to happen? Anger. People are angry.
Yeah.
Like, when I got shot at, I knew exactly who did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew who did it. Like, I knew exactly who did it. I know exactly where they hang out at. I may not know the face, but I know the exact gang or who the 5 people it could have been. And so, yeah, when I was trying to, like, get the gun from my homie, like, I knew exactly where I was going to go, who I was going to shoot at. And so you got that all the time in Chicago, is that when somebody dies, 9 times out of 10, either if it's a gang related thing or even a family thing, like somebody knows who the killer is. Now we ain't gonna tell the police for. I mean, Chicago police is just another gang, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, they ride 4 deep in one squad car. They got ARs in the back of their trunks. Like they're just another gang. But yeah, like in terms of gang violence, like you know who did it. Like, you know exactly who did it. That's why it's never ended. And so you got this part over here where people is like, we got to fight the system so it could like help this area. And I'm like, no, like gang violence is all from anger. Like you think about Cain and Abel, like Cain killed his brother Abel off of anger. And when blood is spilled like that, you create that cycle. So that's a separate issue. You have to fix that separately, then fix the broken system. Again, they're related and connected, but the solution is not the same. And so I think there's misconceptions that people are always trying to come up with these plans and this. I'll give you an example. The director Spike Lee?
Oh, yes.
He made that movie Chirac. And in my opinion, from living in Chicago, it's the most disrespectful movie ever.
How's that?
He tried to give a solution to Chicago's violence. And he's from New York, so he's not from Chicago. He doesn't know what it's like in Chicago. And this, again, like New York has its own issues, but it's not the same. And I knew where he's pulling from because he's pulling from the Greek story of the Trojan women. the children, women who, in order for the men to stop war and violence, they gave up sex. Um, and so he put that in the Chirac movie. One, he created his own gangs. Like, if you play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the Grove Street green and the Ballers purple, like he had that in Chicago. I'm like, nobody has that rep of colors. What are you doing? And and then it was like kind of like a musical thing, and like he tried to put that whole solution in there, and I'm like, that doesn't work. One, that's modern society. You're bringing an ancient Greek solution to modern society. Having women stop giving sex to men is not going to end violence. Because also in Chicago, women kill too. Yeah. And so you throw that out the window. But then for you to also make a solution off of a context that you're not connected to or related to, like, what are you doing? Yeah. Like, stop trying to give an answer just because you like, oh, this is a big issue, you got to solve. Like, no, don't. If you have no relation to it, just pray. Don't put in your 2 cents. Don't put your solution in unless you actually go there and stay there to see what the issue is. The issue is anger. Find something else for people to deal with their anger. Because if they don't find anything else, they're gonna go shoot somebody. Or they're gonna go rob somebody. They're gonna go fight somebody. And so I think like the misconception is always the why or the solution, how to stop it. In my opinion, yeah.
I'm curious. Have you ever thought of a solution? Or what do you, I guess from your own personal experience, what do you think a fair solution would be?
It's tough. And I'm working on this now with like a project in seminary with it, like around violence and stuff. I don't know what the solution is yet. I do know the source, which is again anger. Yeah. And the way that anger is drawn out, but also the solution is with the perpetrator of violence. And so again, like, God used my death to stop me from committing violence. Now the question is, how is everybody else? Like, what is everybody else's solution? Because it's not the same. Yeah. So the anger is like for the perpetrator of violence, how can you stop them and get them to recognize they're wrong? And where's the anger coming from? Is the anger coming from somebody killed my brother and I want revenge? Is the anger coming from living in poverty that you don't got enough money to pay the bill, so you're gonna go rob the gas station, right? Yeah. So what is the source of the anger? Is the source of anger racism from Chicago Police Department? I don't know. And the solution is really case by case basis. And I think just the way I'm gonna criticize Black Lives Matter a little bit, just the way Black Lives Matters organization movement get together for when a cop kills a Black person, I don't see them do the same thing when a Black on Black crime happens. And so my thing is, if they can have that same energy in our own neighborhoods and communities, like, you could do so much. People will get the picture. Like, oh yeah, man, we killed each other. We got to stop this. And again, granted, we are not the only race that kills each other. Yeah. But, and I'm criticizing Black Lives Matter because sometimes they forget. Because they, again, fighting the system. And you have this whole other issue right here. And so sometimes people's response is to fight externally and not internally. I'm just going to leave it's a case by case basis that I'm still trying to figure out myself. But I know God needs to be involved. I think the church needs to be more involved. And I'm not convinced that the church in Chicago is there dealing with the violence, or I didn't see it growing up. So I say the church needs to get involved more. Yeah. For sure.
Actually leads nice into my next question. I've always been curious about religion and gangs. Just like, what was your perspective growing up? And then how prevalent, I guess, is religion in, I guess, what you experienced, at least? Like, are there, you know what I mean? Like, do they believe in God, or like, what's kind of what you heard? Oh yeah, I'm curious.
God's most definitely believed in. Now the understanding of God may change case by case. And I'll say this because I grew up Catholic, and now I'm a Baptist minister. And I don't have nothing wrong with the Catholic Church. It's just the way how my journey went through. Yeah. But so in particularly Black communities, and I think other communities said it's too. I hear it more in Black communities, especially those who are around gang violence or drugs and stuff like that. you hear this term a lot, like I'm fighting demons.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure you heard it somewhere, right?
Many
Yeah, like
times.
yeah, like I'm fighting demons, or you hear it in rap songs and hip hop too. Like, and it's a real thing. Like people, they may not be able to fully communicate theologically what they mean, but to some extent they know what's going. They know there's spiritual demons that they're fighting against that got a hold on them, and that's dealing with gang violence. Like, you know, it could be that anger that's, you know, want to commit another murder. It could be drugs. You know, like when people say they're fighting demons, like they mean it. And even mentally, like, you know, they can't get out of it because I think about the Legion of Demons in the Gospel of Mark, right? Like again, like even in that story, like those Legion of Demons came from the environment that was going on for that guy. It's the same thing in like gang violence, and not even just Chicago, but wherever, right? Like, yeah, people fight demons. And sometimes people criticize God because it's like, you know, why am I going through this and stuff? I went through that journey myself. Like, God, why did I go through all this? And I left the faith for a while. And I did find my way back. But like, I mean, people have questions. And the thing is, I've never really seen a pastor in Chicago.
Sure.
And that's not saying that there isn't, just I haven't seen it. Address that or try to meet people where they are in that. I haven't seen a pastor who's trying to minister to the gang members and stuff like that. Every once in a while I see like people do something, but not as like a push like they would do for Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Can you rephrase your question again? I think it was another part there I'm missing.
It was, what did I say? It was like it was basically just like, how do they see religion? That
Yeah. I think when it comes to gang violence in Chicago, a lot of people, they may not know it, but they are truly hoping God saves them from their situation. Like they want God to save them from that situation or the gang violence and get out. They just don't know how. They don't know where to go. They don't even know who's the right person to talk to. You just don't know. And I'll even say in Chicago, like the churches, at least again, when I grew up, and it could be different now, since I've been here for a while, but we have this saying, like, you know, if there's 3 churches on the block, 2 of them are hustles, one is a real church. And so, and the thing is, you don't know which one's the real one. And so you're saying like, okay, if I see 3 churches on one block, and if I know 2 of them are hustles and one is a real church, like the real church that worship Jesus, that, you know, is trying to give people hope and lead people the right way, my chances of choosing that right church is a third. And so I have a 66% chance I'm not choosing the right church.
No, my bad. What do you mean by hustle?
They just want money.
Dang.
Yeah. So like, and it may come from a congregation or the pastor at the time, but they just want money. You know, you see that pastor driving that fancy car, you're like, nope, I ain't going to his church, right? And so you just never know. And so because you get that, the chances of choosing the wrong church is higher. You just don't choose it all. You just like, I'm gonna walk the other way. I'm gonna not go to that block. I'm gonna go to another block. No, without a church.
Sure.
Yeah. So people desperately want God. They just don't know how to get him.
Would you say people are skeptical of the church then because of that, or?
Yeah, people are skeptical of the church for multiple reasons, and I mean, I think this don't even just get to the Black community. I think this is like just Western culture in general. Like, I mean, the same questions come up of like, if God is so good, why does he allow evil to happen? Or, you know, God hates women. You need to think of our current context, right? Like God doesn't like, you know, value women, or you know, if God loved me so much, why he placed me in these circumstances? It's those same questions. And the thing is, they ask those questions or they make those statements, but there's never, again, I've never seen a pastor who can counter or respond to it with humility, with love, and want that person to see who God is. And even with their statement, what they believe is not who God is. Like I went through that myself. I was like, I used to talk so much stuff about God. I'm like, you know, just like, you know, you have that sibling, you would talk, you say the worst things about that sibling on purpose, like, you know, yeah, you was adopted type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, man, I used to say bad things about God because I was mad at him for like my circumstances. And it took a pastor who was patient with me in Connecticut where I went to college. It took a pastor who was patient with my ignorance for me to like get curious, like, okay, why you got so much patience? Like, now, all right, rather talk to me. Why God do this, that? And he walked with me and showed me like, now like, God didn't allow none of that stuff. Like, God saved you from your situation, actually, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's not how people think. People think that God put them in that situation. They don't look at it as like, no, the sin of the world is why you're there. God is the one who's going to rescue you from that, but they don't know that. And so you think about today where like people like, they want to find the person to preach the gospel to. They want to go to the homeless and stuff like that. Sometimes people look in the wrong direction. The people who really need the answers are sometimes the ones closest to you. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, oh, dang, I just had the question now. I can't remember it. No. What was it? I guess another question then. So your childhood seemed to be kind of cut short in a way. Would you kind of describe it as like it was kind of stolen from you, or?
I think I wrote maybe 2 or 3 poems about this, but like when I first came to Seattle, so I became a minister in January 3rd, 2021, the middle of my college. I was called, became a minister, stuff like that. When I came to Seattle, took me when to found a church, but I found New Light Christian Church. It's in South Seattle, near Rainier. And I was 22. So I'm this 22-year-old, just started seminary. I'm a minister. I'm the youngest minister I probably know of. And I remember when I went to New Light and I got on staff, people was like, they thought one, that God was older. Then two, it was like, the elders were telling me like, you're so mature. And everybody found out my age. They were just like, wait, you're 22. I'm like, yeah, I'm 22. And they were just so surprised. And I think as time went on, they start to understand the more I told them my story, like, that's why you're mature. You was forced to grow up early. Like my childhood was stolen from me from gang violence, and depression and anger. And I had to mature early because I've been broke poor, like, so I know what it means to not have heat, not have power. Like I used to sleep. I remember I was in RTC and I remember I had on my uniform for 2 days straight because it was cold in the house in December, November. Didn't have hot water. I'm like, this is the only way I can stay warm. Put on deodorant again, the next morning, like I stay in my uniform. I've been poor where like our toilets didn't work and I had to go to the next door neighbor just to pee. Like, I've been that dirt poor. And so sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Like everything was cut from me short. Like I had to like deal with my anger. I don't think at the time I was even a good brother to my little brothers. Because I had so much anger in my heart. And so when I like became a minister, I matured quick. Especially in Christ. And when I got to Seattle, like I'm not gonna say like I'm like your old man in wisdom, I can't be every once in a while. But like no, but I'm just I just matured early. Yeah, no, uncle status, So they call me Tay Uncle.
Tay.
But now it was stolen from me. Like it was stolen from me ever since my brother died. And it's just been death, violence, anger, depression since. Until about like junior year. Actually, I even say senior year of high school is probably when it like started to change more. Yeah.
Oh, I remembered my question.
There you go.
Well, I don't know if it's really a question. It's more of like something I picked up on. Like something really powerful that you said was that most of the people, most of the people who are in like gang violence and stuff, like they want to get out, right? But I don't know why, but I feel like there's like I think a lot of people kind of assume that people like want to be in that life, or they like, or I guess like you know what I mean? Like, I guess I've never seen it in the sense of like, oh, they desperately want to get out, but their options are limited because of the repercussions. So
I mean, think about it like this. Like now, when I first started to like be engaged in gang stuff, activity and stuff like that. One reason I would say that I really wanted to is because I looked up to the older guys that like I was around. Like yo, like I looked up to you. Like man, I want to be like him. And he up here, selling dope, holding the strap, like the gun, under his shirt and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna be like that. And I most definitely did become like that for a little bit, or up to a certain extent. But then like you have that realization, like, no, this is not what I want. I need to get out much later on. Where like, Or some people do it for a way out. Like, yeah, like there's people are searching for power. People are like, looking for some control and gain, right? Gang activities. But at the end of the day, like, a lot of them, and they may not say it all the time, but they want to get out. Um, Now there is a conflict, like, there is that battle between me wanting to get out and me want to hold the power in this neighborhood. So sometimes you see people stay longer than they want to because they start feeling that rush of power. Like, oh yeah, I'm the top dog. Like, oh yeah, I'll run my set. Or, this is my territory. Like, like, oh, these my homies. Like, I call the shots.
Yeah.
Like that power do go to your head at some point. But what will always be there is just sometimes it get pushed to the back of their head is that like, yeah, like I want to get out. And now other times circumstances make them want to get out.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, I gotta help my mama pay the bills. Like, okay, I'm gonna go hustle. We gonna make this work, right? I'm gonna sell drugs, Or they have kids, and I'm like, okay, like now I have to get out. For the sake of my daughter, for the sake of my son, I gotta get out, right? But the thing is, not everybody makes it out. Like even me making it out, like I thank God, but like everybody don't have that story. So yeah, it's people most definitely want to get out, they just don't say it. And even if you even pay attention to the things that they do outside of like violent, depending like robberies, I would say it includes this too. Like some gang activities is like them trying to get enough to get out. And that's why some people move to Chicago, but sometimes that Chicago mindset don't go. You leave Chicago, but the Chicago don't leave you. So you go to Indiana, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and different neighborhood, but that Chicago ain't leave you. And so you start doing the same stuff you did in Chicago there. Yeah.
Wow. Why don't we continue on in your testimony then? So would you say at this point this is what, senior year of high school that you're
Yeah. Yeah, when I say like things change, like, I was in a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
I think I was just like trying to work, make ends meet. I wasn't like I moved, so I wasn't helping nobody. I live with my sister and her mom.
Where'd you move?
So I moved to when I moved from my grandma's house, my biological mom was out of jail. She was in jail for 8 years, and I ended up living with her temporarily, very temporarily, because we had our own issues that just wasn't sustainable. And then I moved with my sister and her mom, who always felt like another mom to me, which was in South Shore in Chicago. So I lived there, and I was like working, trying to work hard, focus in school. This is probably when I had like the complete turnaround, almost. I had better friends, so like I wasn't doing illegal stuff. I was doing legal and fun stuff, depending how you want to put that. But yeah, I think I spent most of my senior year working, and then I got a scholarship to go to. I got the Posse scholarship.
The what?
The Posse scholarship.
What is that?
And so it's a merit-based scholarship. You compete with thousands of other kids in the city to get selected. And if you get selected, you will be one of 10 kids to go to a selected school.
Oh, wow.
Now, I think it's in multiple cities, but most major cities in the U.S. So like New York, Chicago, L.A., Boston, Florida, Atlanta. I know some of them got one, some of them don't. And they choose 100 kids each year. And they like separate them by tens, and they separate them in tens and put them in a posse to go to school together. Now some posses stay together, some don't. So I went to Trinity College off that. I got it.
Wow.
Which was again a God's blessing because I thought I was going to stay in Illinois. So I went to Trinity, and which was like getting my ticket out. Like I'm out. And I took the bus there by myself. So I didn't take a plane. I took a hop on the Greyhound with 2 bags, and I went to Connecticut for college. And then immediately, that's when I met the Reverend Trevor Buford. He was the pastor of the Union Baptist Church. I was doing this community service at his church where like we just feed the homeless. This is where I like really learned how like, oh yeah, I love being in the kitchen, And me and him hit it off real good. We just like, like I was cooking up, we was cracking jokes at each other. Then he asked me that question. He was like, oh, like you should come to church. And I was like, nah, I don't do church. And he's like, what you mean you don't do church? I'm like, I don't do church. Why would I go why would I go to your sanctuary? Then I burnt his toast because he asked me that question. So, don't ask me the wrong question. I might burn your food. I love cooking. No more. I won't do that.
I'll keep that in mind next time.
There you go. Ask the right questions, Jacob.
I try my best right
now. And but he was patient. And I think he was the first example of like a pastor with patience. Again, he was patient with my ignorance. Like I was just like a kid. I'm having fun. I restarted. I went to college. New friends, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And he stuck with me. He was just patient through my arrogance. And I think what made me more curious than him is that I went back to Chicago for either the winter break or the summer. I think it was the summer, so after the first year. And I went there, and I think he called to check up on me. Mm-hmm. I think it was like 2-3 weeks in. And he was like, "Oh, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's going okay." And I I almost got arrested twice. My brother almost got into a fight, which could have ended up to like a shooting or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Dianté, it's been 3 weeks. You ain't been there for 3 weeks." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And I got the rest of the summer. He's like, "No, you coming back." So he was like, you get into so much trouble. You just got there. You're coming back.
Yeah.
And surely enough, I did come back shortly after. But I think like even his patience and willingness to even like do that, it was like, okay, now I have questions. Like, well, why are you this person? Like, what is it about God that's like wanted me, right? And then he helped me realize 2 issues. I was angry at God, which I knew, but I was angry at myself. And I think in some ways because I feel like I could have prevented Shakari's death. I could have prevented my grandma's death, and stuff like that. So it's a lot of anger at myself that I have to reconcile with. And I have to like look at God and say like, no, it wasn't. I have to forgive God. And not in the way like God did anything wrong, but in the way like me forgiving God was me saying God did nothing wrong. No. Like God did nothing wrong. Like I was angry at myself. The world did it. And my circumstances did it. And then, quickly I started coming out, started serving at the church more. And I always make the statement like, I'm not joining the church. People was like, "Oh, Tay, you're joining the church." I'm like, "No, I'm not." Now this is the real coming to faith story. Okay. When I think this was like sophomore year. And so Pastor Trevor, he always had somebody drive the church van to come pick us up at Trinity, right? Yeah. So it wasn't that far. It's Hartford, Connecticut. And one Saturday night, we all went out and partied and stuff. Like I was a party boy in college. Like, I was a drinker. So if you ever knew me in college, I was that kid. And so we all got drunk the night before and stuff like that. And the next morning, the van came. And it was like, "Okay, who's ready?" And I'm the only one up. I'm calling people. Everybody like, I'm out. I'm hangover. I can't make it to church. So they're like, everybody was out. And so I'm like, man, I'm up. I'll go to church,
You weren't hungover? Or you were?
No, I was not hungover. Oh. I don't know how, but high tolerance. But yeah, I went to the church by myself, sat in a different seat. And I remember walking in, I'm just like, I felt different. I'm like, well, I feel like something in my I'm like having this out of body experience. I'm like, what is going on with me right now? I'm like, well, I feel like something's weighing on me, or like, somebody's like pulling me or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm like, this is weird. So I went to sanctuary and like my seat was taken, my normal seat. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll sit in a different seat. Yeah. I know. I'm like, y'all know the truth. Y'all go to the same seat every Sunday. Come on, y'all. All right, come on, y'all.
You've sat there for the last 2 years.
Yeah, it has my name on it. You just can't see it. But yeah, I went in there and I remember I sat down. And the minute the music started playing, I just started crying. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I am bawling. No. And I'm not a crier, so that's why you made it weird. I'm like, I'm just bawling. I'm like, eyes bawling. I'm like, what is going on? Why am I crying? The music is not even that good today. It's all right. It's not good. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, okay. After the music, I'm like, I wiped my tears. I'm like, that was weird. And I'm like, but my body still feels weird.
Yeah.
And then later on, like, he preached a sermon. I'm like, still shedding tears a little bit. I'm like, come on now, get it together. And then, in the Baptist church, we do the call to discipleship. And my pastor said, Reverend Church said, is there one? The minute he said, is there one, to come down to the altar and accept Jesus Christ? Mm-hmm. Like, I just started bawling again. I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? Like, I feel like something was trying to pull me to the altar and I was fighting it. Mm-hmm. And so what's going on is like, I'm sitting there and God is calling me. Like the spirit is trying to pull me and I'm trying to fight the spirit. But I tell people this all the time, like, don't ever fight the spirit. you gonna lose that fight.
Mm.
Cause that spirit got some strength that I've never seen before. And I give up. I surrendered. And I just remember walking down to the altar like bawling, you know. And I'm like, man, what is going on? Like, I don't even know what's going on yet.
Mm.
And I just remember my pastor, like, you know, he was just so proud. He was like, and he didn't have to do anything. Like, God did that.
Yeah.
I went back there with the deacons, got the info, then I did the baptism class and stuff like that. But in that story right there, when the Holy Spirit pulled me to the altar, it was interesting because before everybody kept saying, Tay, you're going to join the church. Tay, you're going to join the church. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But the day I come alone is when I joined the church. And I realized that as much as people want to see you join the church, sometimes they are the distraction.
Oh.
And so my friends, every time they would like nudge me when Pastor Reverend Trevor said, like, is there one? And they're like, yo, that's you. Is this your time? I'm like, no, it's not. Like, they were interrupting the process. Like, and granted, like, they wanted me to come down there, but they were interrupting the process. Like, they kept trying to pressure me to go down. I'm like, nah. But the day when I came by myself, he had all of my attention. There was no distractions. There was no interruptions. He had me in that moment. And I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. You know, Baptists, we like the commitment is personal. And so I accepted that personal commitment. Took my baptism class and I got baptized. Funny enough, I got baptized twice and I didn't know it.
Wait, how so?
I was baptized Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
It's just I didn't know the difference between baptisms at the time, because they do it very differently.
Yeah.
And I remember when I got baptized, I remember it was like one of the most happiest moments. Like, there was no tears. And I remember like 8 people joined the church, like, accepted Christ that day. And I was like, it reminded me of like how baptism is like your public declaration, but it's so much communal. It's not an individual experience. It's a communal experience. Like, having a baptism, seeing everybody like, you know, excited to see me get baptized, but then seeing 8 people coming to Christ later on in the service added to my baptism. Like, I will forever remember 8 people coming up and getting like accepting Christ. So, you know, yeah, I just like kind of flowed into the church, like, you know, like naturally. Like, it was like, I call it like falling in love with God. Then I was called, and I didn't know what that meant. I think it was my junior year. So right before COVID, I was told I was called. God told Reverend Trevor I was called. Reverend Trevor told me. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what you mean I'm called? I'm not called. Why would God call me? Like, he already called me to accept him. I did that. And I thought that was the end of it. But then what happened was he told Reverend Trevor I was called. Reverend Trevor told me. And I denied it. I was like, no, I'm not called. But then COVID happened. And, you know, everybody feeling isolated. And the thing is, I never felt isolated. I was still doing church work. I was still in the church, like, helping out and stuff like that. And I remember, do you know the story of like Samuel when God was calling him? So like in 1 Samuel chapter 3, you know, well, let me back up.
Oh, yeah.
Junior year in the middle of COVID, I remember I just kept waking up in the middle of the night. I kept waking up around like 3:30 a.m. And I was trying to go to sleep early. And I'm like, why I keep waking up? Like, I feel like somebody calling my name. And so I randomly checked in with Pastor Trevor one day, and he told me like, I told him like, yeah, I'll just keep waking up, and I don't know why. And he was like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. It feels like somebody's waking me up. And he was like, do you know the story of Samuel? I was like, who? I was like, who's Samuel? I don't know nobody Samuel. Who's, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, it's a biblical character. I'm like, oh, okay, that's Samuel.
Yeah.
So he gave me and I had the Bible app on my phone. So he's like, look up. No, he gave me his Bible. He was like, read 1 Samuel chapter 3, the first 10 verses. So I read it, you know. Samuel's ministering in the church under the prophet Eli. Eli's sight is growing dim and stuff like that. And Samuel gets called, and he thinks Eli's calling him. He did that 3 times until the 3rd time Eli realized, like, oh no, God is calling you. And so the next time God calls you by your name, say, Lord, your servant is listening. And I read that. I'm like, that sounds awfully like he was in my Reverend Trevor looked at me. He's like, next time you wake up, tell God, your son is listening. And I did that. And that same night, you know, I said, God, your son is listening. Then there was like the spirits kind of lead me to like, I used to do these prayer walks. And he's like, go on your prayer walk. And I went on my prayer walk. And I remember I went to a spot. It was like, an open field behind the football field. And I was just praying. I just like randomly accepted my calling. I was like, Lord, I don't know why you calling me. I don't know what it is, but I accept. And I let you do with that what you do. And he, God took and ran with that. God, once you accept, it's like it's a wrap from there. And I was like, what did I do? But then, man, God moved so fast. Like he started to change the way I thought. He changed the way I was perceiving things. He was changing the way I looked at my own culture, looked at people around me, even the ways I looked at him. And I was like, whoa, this is all coming in so fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what would I do next? And I told Reverend Trevor, and that's when we started the process of discerning and my calling to become a minister. And I mean, there was a lot in that. It took like 6-7 months, and like that spiritual journey was hard. This is why I believe in ordination, because that process in like discerning and when you are becoming who God wants you to be, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like I dealt with issues I never thought I had to deal with. I was abusing alcohol and didn't even know it. I think because the pressure of becoming a minister was so heavy for me, especially a senior in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what is this? And I just remember I was like, okay, I just started drinking more and more and more. I was going to meetings drunk and stuff like that. I was drinking bottles back to back. And I think there's a part of me that was like feeling like I'm not ready to be a minister. Like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
And then my initial sermon came up and I mean, if you watch it, I was nervous, but like it went well and I felt more confident in God. It's like, yo, why did I just put myself through that? Like that spiritual warfare is real and the devil was trying to tell me like, yo, you can't do it. And I'm like, and God has shown me that I can do it. And then I became Minister Dianté Dancy. And then, I asked what was next. My pastor said seminary. I was like, what is that? Yeah. He's like, school. I was like, why? Like, I'm in school right now. What makes you think I want to go back to school?
More school?
I was like, I barely like it here. I gotta, and I know you was curious like how I got to SPU.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Halfway across the country, man.
Literally coast to coast.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I think it's a simple story. I think so. I remember seeing SPU because for some reason I wanted to come to Seattle and I didn't know why. And then I saw SPU and I was unfamiliar with like different school systems, so I was like, I don't know. So I took SPU off my list.
Sure.
And so it was like maybe I want to go back home to Chicago. So I had University of Chicago, Yale, Duke, Princeton, Howard, and Boston University on my list of schools to apply for. Now all those schools are prestige, and I think I had one very practical school, was very practical school, which was Virginia Union, and I applied to most of those schools, not all those schools, and I think one Duke I did not get into, and I know the guy. I knew somebody at Duke, and I remember when I was applying for University of Chicago, and I was like, okay, maybe I want to go home, and then Chicago asked something. Remember I said like 3 churches on the block, 2 of them are hustles.
Yeah.
University of Chicago asked me something. I can't remember what it was, and it was a financial question. And it wasn't like what do you need help with financially, stuff like that. It was a weird question for me. I can't remember what it was. And I read that, I was like, oh, nope. I was like,
how much money you giving us?
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, you remind me of the churches growing up. And then I put SPU back on my list, and I applied. And then immediately, I think what separated SPU from everywhere else was that SPU was the only school that kept contacting me.
Oh, wow.
Like, so they had, I think like 3 people contacted me. And they just kept in communication. They were sending me events, like, come to our event. I'm like, yeah, I'll come to these events. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm of course Zoom. But I think just that persistence in keeping a communication going answer my questions and stuff like that. I remember when I got accepted, Reverend Harris, he's the interim chaplain for the SPU right now, but before he was the associate dean of the seminary. And so I remember Saturday morning, I got a call from a 206 number, the Seattle number. And I'm thinking like, I just talked to somebody from Seattle and I thought I saved his number. So I'm like, who is this? I call, I'm Saturday morning, I just woke up. I'm like, yeah, hello. And it's like, oh, I'm just Reverend Derek Harris. I was calling from SPU to tell you that you got accepted. Oh, hold on, like, give me a second. Try to, get rid of my sleepy voice and stuff like, oh, that's society, right? But even the fact that like he personally called me and told me like I never even got the acceptance notice first. I got a call first from the associate dean. And I was like, okay.
Do you know if they still do that?
Really?
I don't got a call, bro.
Sorry, bro.
I think I got like an email or something, but it's a email from Zach Jacobson.
Come on, bro. You just not me.
Ah.
That's why I'm here, bro. You're gonna by the end of this, you're gonna be like me.
Oh, I'm so grateful.
But yeah, and then even and God kind of told me like, yes, I want you to go to Seattle. Yeah. And then I asked for it. And I asked for it before he gave it to me. And then my pastor was like, "You but apply for these other schools," because he went to Howard Divinity School. Yeah. So he's like, "You should go to Howard." I'm like, "I'm going to go to Howard." And even when I got accepted, and I was like, "Okay, God is telling me Seattle's it," so I accepted. I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming to Seattle." Yeah. I remember over the summer, I'm taking like my first class online and stuff like that, and Dean Bryan.
Oh yes.
Dean Bryan.
Was he Dean at the time?
Yes, but he was new.
Oh.
So me and Dean Bryan technically started at the seminary at the same time. But he texted me over the summer while I was in Chicago. He's like, "Hey, I'm Dean Bryan. I'm the new." He's like, "I'm Bryan. I'm the new dean. I'll be in Seattle actually around the same time you get there. So let's figure the city out together. I'm new, you new." And I was like, "Yeah." So for like the first couple of weeks, like me and Dean Brown was trying to figure out churches together and stuff like that. So I like he'd like pick me up with his family. We'd just go to church and stuff. And so, but that's like the community that is at SPU. That I didn't get that sense from Howard. I didn't get that sense from Yale, Duke. Nobody called me and said, "Yo, Dianté, what's up? How you doing?" Like, nah,
we want you.
Yeah, and I didn't get that call. I'm like, but SPU was like, "Hey man, like how you doing? Like, you have any questions? I can tell you about my experience. Tell me about your story."
Yeah.
And it was so that encouraged me to become a graduate enrollment counselor like a year later, which I'm not in that role no more. But I felt encouraged by the role because of my experience. So I be trying to call people trying to do the same thing. Now it's a lot of y'all, so I didn't even get to call y'all. And you wouldn't pick up my phone. I'm just kidding.
Sure.
He's like that 312 number. I don't want to pick up that.
You're a lot of
No, but that's how I got to SPU. Just the persistence of communication, being transparent, being honest, and I even think about what they told me then. No lies. Like I'm like they told me that SPU like focuses on like Christianity around the world. Like we'll teach you everything that we can. You won't get like a Americanized Christianity. I felt that very true. Even in seminary right now, like I've not got a very Americanized Christianity. Like they taught me other cultures. They showed me the history of having other cultures. They taught me like they showed me books and resources from my own culture. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, like everything they told me still stands true. Yeah.
Wow. But you know it's hard to move halfway across the country?
Well, financially, yes. In terms of like emotionally, mentally, no. I think there's a part of me that loves moving around. And I have a call to do international ministry whenever God says time, which is why I've been doing preparation for that. But I'm okay with like packing up my stuff and leaving. Now I think that's because I was so excited when I got my first time to do it in Connecticut. But like, I know that I can't stay in every place for so long. Like I knew Hartford, Connecticut was not the place I was going to stay in, so I was like, no, I'll go to Seattle. But there's something to learn from going to different environments that you can learn from people of Christianity there. Like Christianity here in Seattle is different from how it is in Chicago, and it's different how it is in Connecticut. The thing is, I learned something from all of those places, and I plan to continue to learn from many different places just outside the country. Yeah. So
I'm gonna miss you when you leave, man.
I mean, I'm dipping next year. I'm kidding. It's not next year. No, it's not next year.
I'll be alright.
Yeah, I don't know when it's gonna be. So you have me in Seattle until God tells me it's time.
What a privilege.
But I still in my ordination process, so it's no time soon. So use me up all you can.
Oh yeah. How has your time at SPU been?
It's been good. I mean, it's ups and downs. Each year is something new. I'll say that. So I go by years. So my first year there, I'm like figuring stuff out. Now, some stuff, not everything, I knew how to do because Reverend Trevor taught me. Like Reverend Trevor taught me how to do exegesis work.
Are you still connected with him?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He wants me to come where he is. I'm like, I'll think about it. Like he's like my spiritual dad.
Yeah.
So he's always like, son, you should just come up here where I am, and we could do ministry together. I'm like, I'll think about it. We'll see what the Lord does. But yeah, like so my first year I'm like figuring everything out. Like I already knew how to do exegesis work. I preached before. I just need to tighten those skills. Like SP taught me more. Then my first year was like learning more about God biblically and theologically and going to pray a lot because I'm like, okay, God, I don't understand this. Like help me out. Like I think about, is it the Wall of Jericho where like God, God tells his people like, yeah, kill everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, but Lord, why? Why you kill everybody? He said the women, the children, the flock. And I'm like, what? Why? And so, I would go like on prayer walks like that, like, reconcile, like, like trying to understand God. Like God help me understand. Some days I walk in there mad. Some days if I was joyful, I'm like, God, give you all the praise, right? But I kept it disciplined, going to pray. And I'll even make deals with God, which don't make deals. Let God tell you the deal. Don't ever come to God with a deal and let it be a good deal because he will act on it quick. And so like, yeah, I used to like make deals and pray with God, like, yo, Lord, like I think I told him like next school year, my second year of seminary, just teach me something new, like knock me down a little bit, like, just humble me. Mm-hmm. He did that a little too fast. A little too fast. I was like, when I said that, Lord, I didn't mean like it so quick. I mean like, in a few months, right? Yeah. He did it like in a week. Mm. So yeah, like my first year was just like figuring things out. My second year was rough early on because I was second year of seminary, full-time student. I got a new job as a graduate enrollment counselor at the seminary. I'm still an associate minister at the church, New Life Christian Church, which the pastor was on leave because he had a daughter. Mm. Then I had one of my best friends, like a brother to me, died from Chicago. He's one of the ones when I was in high school who I got really close with. He died from a drug overdose. Mm-hmm. And so all those things happened all at once. And actually interesting thing was Brian. I remember talking to Brian that day and I felt so bad because I was like on the rush. I was on the move. You just going through that busy day. Yeah. And I noticed like something was up. Like, I just didn't engage with it because I'm like, I got to go to work. I'm late for my meeting. Then later that night, I got a call that he passed away. And interestingly, the same day he passed away was the same day that pastor's daughter was born. Oh. So life taken, a life given. And I was upset with God because I'm like, Lord, when I prayed and said we need to do something, because I got a call when he was in the hospital, because he like fell out from a heat stroke. He was doing drugs, and I'm like, Lord, we got to do something. The Lord quickly told me, no, you done all you could. I'm going to do something. And so he took Brian with him, and first I'm mad, I'm angry, I cried a little bit. I'm like, yo, like he's my brother. Like, why? Like, that's not what I meant. I'm like, he could still heal on this earth. And God is like, no, he can't. And so I'm dealing with that all in my second year of seminary. Like, I had to take the kind of like, I was the main pastor of my church for like 4 or 5 weeks because the pastor was on leave. And I was the most qualified to do it. Yeah. And I had the support from the elders and stuff, but like, I'm the main pastor temporarily. Started a new job, seminary, deaf, and I like found out that I got to officiate and do the eulogy of the funeral, which I'd never done before. Yeah. And I had to get permission to do it, which was a mess itself. But I remember trying to figure out like how to reconcile with Brian's death, and what the Lord said he was going to handle it, he revealed to me what it said in Revelations, and it's the idea that when we pass on this earth, everything that we struggle with passes too. And so Brian dealing with years of drug addiction, but God said, he's had enough of this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take him with me to the kingdom, and I'm going to heal him there. Wow. And for me, that quickly made me realize, like, okay, God, you knew what you was doing. Mm-hmm. Like, my brother needs to be healed, and he was not going to get healed on this earth. Yeah. he needs to go up with you to be healed.
Mm.
And I appreciated his funeral too, which at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about preaching this. I don't even know if the family. I knew his family, we were close, but I didn't know if they were like Christian, right? Because I wasn't in my faith when I was close with his family. But then his grandma, no, somebody said something. I was like, no, like if I shun away from this, then something, I missed something. So I said that message. And it was really good for his grandma because his grandma didn't even know that he was trying to learn who God was. And so just realizing how the Lord speaks to me in that moment. Like that was mine. Like I dealt with that. Like mine, like it happened like the first 5 weeks of my second year, but I feel like the impact lasted the entire year. And then my third year, what happened my third year was a blur. I think I was just tired. I was like, man, I'm tired of seminary. A lot of reflecting and stuff like that. I think I end up in a lot of classes that I personally didn't need. That's not to say the classes were bad. I think everybody else needed it. It just I didn't need it.
Sure.
Maybe because I just come from a different background, or like I'm related to that culture much more than I'm on to the next step. Like reconciliation with Dr. Brenda. Great class, just not for me because
which one did you say?
Reconciliation.
Or there's like 3 of them, right?
Oh, that's right. It was the
practice, or it was leadership one too.
Leadership, reconciliation, leadership, something like that. But it was just like I'm beyond that. Like this reconciliation you're talking about is the same culture that me and Dr. Brenda is part of.
Yeah.
And granted, I'm not gonna say I didn't learn anything. Like there's some things in there that I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But overall, like I just feel like I didn't need it. I needed something deeper. And me and her talked, then like, we did it incomplete and she helped me go deeper. So she was like, how about this? Like, and I told her honestly, like, I don't know how much I got out of your class because I'm still struggling with this idea of reconciliation because it's not what you're mentioning. And what I'm thinking of is not mentioning your class. And so she was like, let's do it incomplete and let's like figure it out. And I did it and she helped me figure it out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Yeah, like she asked questions and she like, then I'm like, my passion come out, the spark come out. She like, there you go. And so I feel like my third year was me dealing with that a lot, like being in classes where I'm like, oh, I see how everybody else needs this because of my background and what I studied in college even. It just wasn't as beneficial to me. And then I moved on to my first year. Now I'm just really tired. I'm trying to get up out of here, man. I'm just like, look, I'm hanging by a thread. Like you ever play Hangman and you're just trying to get that last letter? That's me right now. So, but I'm just trying to like push and make it all I can, and so I can graduate this June. Yeah.
You'll be walking.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Lord willing.
I just can't wait to like scream your name when they call you. You know where they're gonna have the graduation ceremony?
We have our commission service June 5th and the commencement June 6th. So the commission is probably the most important one because that's where we get our hooding. It's more like a worship service where commencement is just commencement. Like you scream my name in commencement, I'm not gonna hear you.
Is that at the chapel or where's this at?
It's gonna be in First Free.
First Free?
Yeah. So it'll be in that chapel.
Do they? I know they SPU. They use T-Mobile Stadium or the ballpark. Are you gonna walk there at all, or is that only for undergraduates?
I have no idea, to be honest. Okay. To be honest, I never paid attention to the commencement since I've been here at SPU.
Have you ever been to one?
Not SPU's. No, that's a lie. I've been to I think last year I was at theirs because they had it on campus. But technically, I care more about the commissioning service because it's worship. That's the seminary and stuff like that. The only time I was at commencement is if one of my mentees was graduating, which that's why I was there last year, and I think maybe the year before. But yeah. So,
how has I guess living in Seattle been? I guess what do you think of Seattle? I'm actually very curious about that.
Oh man,
what are your opinions on Seattle, Washington? Oh man,
there's so much to say.
Like we're here for another hour.
Well, I say this when I first came. So Chicago culture is very direct, and we're not soft people either. And so when I say that, it's mean like you can make like a very direct, like almost like rude joke, and the person who receives in Chicago will probably laugh at it. And we'll just say another rude joke back. So like that's how Chicago is. When I went to the East Coast, they're direct, but they're soft in terms of like when I say soft, I don't mean like they can't take a beat or they can't take some of them can't. But the East Coast, they're soft, but they're still direct, in my opinion. Like they just talk a lot. In my opinion. The Pacific Northwest, people are not direct and they're very passive. I noticed that very quick because I think where was I? I was talking to somebody when I first got. I think it was a white woman, and she was she talking to me, a black guy, and we was talking about something. And race came up. Yeah, for some reason she was struggling to say black people. I'm like, you can say black people. I know what you mean. And I'm like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? Like,
you have my permission.
Like, yeah, I'm like, you don't like you're not saying the N-word, like you can say black people. I don't know. Like you're not saying anything derogatory or rude. We're just having a conversation. What's going on here?
That's right. You can say like African American or something.
I mean, I would either way. I'm like, I'm African American and I'm black. So like, if you would have said Jamaican, I'm like, well, I'm not Jamaican. But yeah, it was just weird because I'm like, so why are you struggling to say this? Right? And then I was come to find out that where Seattle is soft is that Seattle cares about a lot of different issues. However, the way they try to handle those issues is like very passive and poor.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find something to criticize on public record. That
no footprint, man.
Yeah, I know.
Your future employer will find this.
I would say this like universities. Now, when I was at Trinity, like I worked in the Women's Gender Resource Center, so I did intense trainings on sexual violence. I did very intense trainings on sexual violence, right? I'm not gonna say I know everything from the back of my head, but I know enough.
Yeah.
And when I came to SPU, and I know like even not just SPU, Seattle in general, like yeah, everybody has this passion to like prevent sexual violence. But the trainings that people offer are poor. And I was like, why? Like, I've seen better trainers than this. I've seen like they know the information, they're just not sharing it.
Yeah.
And so I remember I was at one training, and I was like, why y'all don't go deeper? Like, there's more. Like, this needs to be more intensive, right? And they was like, oh, we don't want to overwhelm people or trigger anything. I'm like, it's sexual violence.
Yeah.
It's triggering. Like it's triggered for me. I had a cousin who like got raped and stuff like that. And I have like very close friends who've been like, sexually harassed and stuff like, and I'm a man. So like, to some extent, like I may not experience it, but there's men who experience it too. But I was like, and maybe again, this may be just me being direct in Chicago. Like we're just on over in Connecticut, like they would do those intense trainings. So I was like, why don't you do it here? Like, don't get me wrong, I get people's emotions, but it's a serious topic. If you want people to be informed, you have to do the intense training. Don't do a passive one because passive don't always helps.
Yeah.
And then I remember there was one here, they call it gender-based violence, and I didn't understand that. I don't think I still understand it. I'm like, so what's there between gender violence and sexual violence? It's like, oh, the same thing. I'm like, I'm confused. But I remember there was a statistic. So there's a saying like if you like been around sexual violence prevention trainings and stuff like that, most people who sexually harass you or sexually assault you are not people you don't know. They're people you do know. And I remember at one of these trainings, the way they were doing the training was like it's always the people you don't know. And then so I was curious of like, okay, maybe there's a different statistic in Seattle. And I remember when I asked a person like privately about it, they was like they knew that information. It was like, oh yeah, like most people who commit sexual violence, it's people you know. And I'm like, so why didn't you share that information? These are people who don't know it and need to know. And so I was just confused. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something I'm not understanding, right?
Yeah.
But then as I go on, people don't know how to do conflict well here. It's either passive, and the people who are not passive are not from here, so they go all out aggressive. And I'm like, Lord have mercy, this is a mess. Think about churches, right?
Yeah.
Trying to think, I have so many unfiltered comments about Seattle. Well, I'll say this: I really love Seattle as a city. I think when I came here, I made it home. That doesn't mean it has its issues. I think politically it has its issues. I think its people has its issues. And I don't think people in Seattle, and I hope somebody can prove me wrong on this, that people in Seattle can do better with talking to the other. And when I say that, is I think people in Seattle can do better with talking to the people they disagree with. The person who you may consider your enemy, the person you disagree with. Now, I'm particularly talking about churches that like y'all separate too often. And I'm like, why does we Protestants, we just separate. We separate a church plant. I'm just like, why is there 5 churches on one block? I'm just asking, you know. And I think this new wave of Christianity is like so contemporary and don't care about structure or tradition that I'm a little worried as a 25-year-old minister. Of like, no, those practices and that tradition is important. I'm not saying it's above the Bible. I'm not saying it's above God. I'm just saying, like, even in scripture, tradition has been important.
Yeah.
So don't get rid of tradition. And so I don't know, I find Seattle sometimes very weird. And what I see in Seattle, I see other places. And I'm just like, oh, so this is not just a Seattle thing. Some of this is like a trend of the new wave that we're in. And then outside of Christianity, I think, Seattle could have some better food to some extent.
Yeah.
I think the Asian scene of like food is really good. I heard Vancouver's better. That's not my words. Somebody else's words. But y'all ain't got no soul food. The soul food here ain't it. Yeah, I don't know 2 Caribbean places like, the Hispanic food don't hit. I'm like, oh man, look, I'm opening up a restaurant here. Forget ministry. That's gonna be my ministry, to feed the people, some good food.
Feed our stomachs.
I'm from Chicago. We got an all around good food scene. And we like the 3rd best for our food scenes in the US.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm like, look, y'all need something here. Like, I don't want that dry chicken from Ezel's. I'm like, look, like them tacos, depending where you go, is good. Beer, you got some good tacos. In some places south, but like up north, nah. So, better food scene y'all can most definitely have, what else? Traffic is terrible.
Oh yes.
Traffic is terrible. That's where God is working on my patience. If God wants to, for those watching, if you ever want to learn patience, just be in Seattle traffic. Because I promise you, the Lord going to teach you something. Because I cuss a lot of the truth.
I've told people this. The only time you'll ever hear me swear is you either get me mad really fast or I'm in Seattle traffic.
Seattle traffic. I promise you, like, if I just had like a show, like this, like a podcast of my own, just like Dianté's reactions in Seattle traffic. Oh my, you would either be laughing, you would laugh so hard at me, and I'm so serious. Like, I think it's so bad. I was on the phone with my friend one time when I was driving, my friend Robert from Chicago. And he called one of my road rage moments. And my response is never a Christian response, because I'm just so mad. And Chicago, like, we call a gun a strap, And I think somebody cut me off, and I'm like, I need the strap.
Wow.
And then my friend just started laughing at me. He's like, you so serious? I'm like, I'm so bad. And I'm like, the whole time, no, I'm not going to grab a gun and go shoot somebody. No, but like, my anger took control for a second. Like, yo, get out of my way. I'm like, I don't know why y'all can't drive. Like, y'all drive so slow too.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm used to doing Chicago traffic because it's just crowded, but people drive fast in Chicago. In Seattle, people drive slow or they don't pay attention. So, yeah, those are some of my unfiltered thoughts about Seattle. There's probably more that's not coming to mind. Yeah. A lot of lonely people too.
Say again?
A lot of lonely people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I think one last thing about Seattle then. How was finding a church? And I think once you moved, finding a community how was that for you?
It was a little struggle at first because it took me 5 months to find a church. And I was really looking. When I first came, me and Dean Brian, I was like, I can worship any church. The first church we went to, and out of respect, I'm not going to say the names of the churches, but we went to this one church, which was amazing. This is my first time in a mega church. And I was like, what is this?
Oh, really?
I didn't like the preaching, and this is something I'm strict on. Like, I'm strict on preaching, and I'm strict on who can preach. And to clarify myself, I'm not saying like anybody can preach the gospel, but to preach from the pulpit is something different.
How's that?
Preaching in the gospel is like, you could like, that's like me and you, if we walking and like, like you're talking about something, I just like come out of nowhere. Like Spirit is using me as a vessel and I start preaching the gospel to you one-on-one.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. From the pulpit is different because the pulpit does have power.
Mm-hmm.
And God can speak through the person who's at the pulpit. Now, if you got people come to church to be encouraged to hear God, if you got the one person who I'll say God has not anointed or called to preach, oh man, you don't know the damaging things you can say.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I'm concerned with how seriously the pulpit is being taken now today. Because when I first came here, one of the churches I went to, the guy was preaching, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like he was in Proverbs something about joy, and then I realized like some preachers have a topic they want to preach on, and they find random scripture to back it up. And the problem with that is when you hear the sermon, you realize there's no substance in there because it's not coming from the biblical text. It's coming from the person who's preaching, who's using the biblical text to support them. Now, me personally, my theological stance, I think it should be the other way around. You read the text, you exegete the text, and you pray that God reveals something to you in that text. And then you preach whatever that text and God revealed to you. Like, that's how I've always done it. I feel like that is like the most faithful way to do it. And that's not saying that sometimes this is idea that matches scripture. Like yeah, the idea is coming from your heart with God, and this scripture is backing it up. Like, I think that is fine, but I think majority of times, like people preach a motivation speech. Preaching should not always be motivational. It should be encouraging and it should be challenging.
For sure.
But it doesn't, like, if you come to church every Sunday and you just feel motivated and you don't feel challenged, I think there might be a genuine problem. Like, if you don't walk out, like, and it doesn't have to be every Sunday. But let's say like you Sunday the entire month, right? Like what's that, like 3-4 services, maybe 5? If one of those Sundays you're not walking out challenged, there might, I don't want to say always there might be an issue, but if some of your folks don't feel challenged, then I will say something's off spiritually for me. Because we're always been challenged daily. We're always been challenged in our Christian lives. Like there's things we do all the time that, like, there's things I do all the time and I've got to remember, like, this is not the way I'm supposed to be acting. Like scripture teaching me something completely different than what I'm doing right now. So you should always feel challenged, but you should always feel encouraged. And that encouragement comes from the grace of God, the love of Jesus Christ. Like, man, like I am such a failure, but man, God loves me, right? That God loves me so much that he gives me this thing that is challenging to me to work on. Like that is grace. And so that's one church. And I remember going to another church where it was the same thing. So the problem was it was just a terrible sermon. And he was a college pastor. And like, man, like he preaching to college students. I went there for a baptism. And he was talking about relationships. He used 3 different scriptures, which I'm always like, tell people, like, be careful when you do that. Because each scripture is completely different contextually. And so for me, I'm like, okay, 3 scriptures. I'm like, okay, that's a red flag. But like, let's see where you go. Maybe you work it out together. It makes sense. He's talking about relationships. He used Genesis 1 and Genesis 12, and there's another one I can't remember, but they all in Genesis. And this is a personal thing for me. I don't like when people use Genesis 1 as a relationship text or a theological text on gender and stuff like that. That is a text on creation. Genesis 1 is not going to tell you how to have a relationship. And actually, in my personal opinion, if you look at any relationship in the Bible, romantically, they're a hot mess. But like he used Genesis 1, God created male and female. I'm like, okay, how is that talking about relationships? That's God creating, like, humanity. That's God creating the earth. Like, how is that about relationships? Then he used Genesis 12 about God promising Abraham a promised land. He was saying something about like broken promises. And I'm like, okay, so how does God blessing Abraham with the promised land leads to having better relationships?
I've got that question too.
And I was like, and most of the time he spent the time talking about him and his wife. I'm like, no, this is not it. Now I got upset. My spirit got upset because I seen college students, who don't know no better, taking notes. I'm like, no, like, don't take notes on that. Wait, y'all, stop. And it just grows my concern for who we're allowed to preach. Especially people who clearly did not go through that discernment. And that's why I do believe in ordination. I believe in commission. I believe in licensing, because you can't just allow anybody to go up there. Like, again, everybody can preach the gospel. But most times people get ordained, they're not just preaching the gospel, they're preaching, they're pastoring, they're caring for people, they are leading people. Like, there's so much, and a lot of that comes from you have to look at your own self, all the ugliest version of yourself you have to look at in that process of ordination. And so when I came here, I realized like a lot of churches did not honor that, especially non-denominational churches, the evangelical churches, these new church plants who just create their own traditions and culture. I'm like, and again, it's something that's nice to create your own thing, but don't hop on a new wave, right? Like this new wave, like we're multi-ethnic, non-denominational church. I'm like, so you're a church for whiteness with different colors. Cool. What's new? Right? And I don't know, and even the way they preach is just not authentic to the gospel. Like, they could go deeper. They could take it more seriously. Church should not, like, I love church should be the place where you feel welcome, you find community, but church should also be a place that puts you in your place. I can't tell you how many times I went to church service and God put me in my place about an issue. I'm like, oh, that is challenging. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. And I may be upset at first, but I'm like, no, God is like trying to take it like, that sermon was for you. You're the problem, right? Like the issue I point to, you're the issue, right? And so now I gotta go home. Now I gotta go through the weekend. I gotta work on that. And so and then when I found my first church, I think it also was frustrating because when I started to look for a Baptist church or a Baptist-like church. And at the time, I don't want to say I wouldn't know the whole history of Baptists. I think people get American Baptists confused with Southern Baptists all the time. Because I'm American Baptist, to clarify people. And American Baptist, especially in the Evergreen region, which I'm part of, there's progressive churches, there's conservative churches. We have both. And we have churches who probably don't even care about those issues, right? We have churches from all like cultural groups, Asian, white, Black, Hispanic. We have churches that are multi-ethnic. And so we're a regional denomination that has everything. We're connected to the wider spread of American Baptist churches. New Life Christian Church, the first church I found, is not a Baptist church, but it runs like a Baptist church. And I remember before I found New Life, somebody asked me the question of like, what type of church you look for? I'm like, just a Baptist church. If I'm in a Baptist church. And it was like, oh, well, what type of Baptist church? Affirming or traditional? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, church is a church. What do you mean affirming or traditional? I was like, oh, are you affirming of gay people or are you against gay people? I was like, that's a thing churches are doing. Again, this is like me, like I just don't know at the time. I'm like, again, I'm like a newly minister. Like I have not dove deep into the church world yet. I'm just getting started. This was like 4 years ago, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess, and then me, I'm just thinking like, I guess a affirming church. I don't know how much I care. I just take to a church, where I could like hear God's voice, hear His word, worship with people. And then as time went on, like, and New Light is a more traditional church, but I would say this is a traditional church that is very loving. Like, I mean, they love you like a family. The church I'm at now is affirming Queen Anne Baptist Church, but that's something I had to like consider that I never knew because I was in Connecticut. That never became an issue. Nobody has ever asked me like, "Oh, is Union Baptist Church a traditional or affirming church?" So I come to Seattle, and somebody asked me that. I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, I don't think I care. Just if the church got the name Baptist on it, put me in there. But then I realized like it was a bigger issue. And New Light helped me have some conversations around it. Then I also worked at SPU, which had some other conversations around it. And so to me, even around that issue, I don't know where I am on it because I'm just like too many people in my ears. I need God to tell me and help me discern with that. And so I stand down. I was like, yeah, I just serve people. I need people to find God. Like, and that is, you don't care where you from or who you are. I'm like, how can I as a minister help to lead you to God? Now, what God do through you at that moment? It's between you and the Lord. Just use the Lord. I just let the Lord use me as a vessel. And I love New Light. New Light was a church that I think being a seminary helped solidify a lot of theology. It saw like the practical side versus like the theological side, which people cannot understand. Like, I noticed that New Light, you cannot say something and expect people to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people, no matter how old they are, they're a child of God. And I mean child of God, like they're an infant in theological thinking. And they probably may not never get to like that professional or theologian level. Like that's not meant for everybody.
Yeah.
So you gotta I always have to find ways to like, okay, how to switch up my language so people can understand. Yeah, I like teaching opportunity. I think that's where I realized my gift in teaching. I like preaching, but I think I like teaching more. And I am a more structural person. So I care about like the church traditions historically, which I think matches up with scripture and stuff like that. But yeah, man, the Seattle church scene is weird. But it took a while. And but I found New Life Christian Church and it worked. And the only reason I left was to start my ordination because New Life's not Baptist. And I'm still licensed as a Baptist minister. So I was like, oh yeah, like I'll switch over to Queen Anne Baptist Church and I would, begin my ordination. Yeah. So that's kind of like the story there. There's probably more there. I just got the story question.
Nice.
Yeah.
A little off topic. How'd you end up meeting Ryan? That was, I guess my question was somewhat tailored towards that, but I wasn't like sure of the entire story. Yeah.
What did I meet? So Laura was in the seminary.
Yes.
So me and Laura worked together for 3 years in soul care at SPU.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Laura got our closest friends. So at some point, she invited me to certain things. Like I went to the group that her and her husband Jonathan lead. Mm-hmm. So they had the things you don't talk about at church, which is on Tuesdays, and they had another Bible study on Thursdays. So I just go to hanging out. I don't really, try to do anything. And I think I met Ryan there and we just got acquainted. And then when me and Ryan got close, it's because of social media and realized our humor was almost the same. So he saw like, oh, Dianté likes the same post I like. And he started sending me stuff. We just started dying laughing. And, it's like that simple guy thing. You're just like, oh yeah, he could make that type of joke. We're gonna be best friends. And we still make those type of jokes. And I went to their church a few times, which was the Table. Yeah. No, I don't go there often. I went there maybe 3 or 4 times. Yeah, that's how me and Ryan met, basically through Laura. But not me and Ryan don't need Laura. We just guy talk.
Third wheel out now.
Well, she got a husband, so.
Yeah. I think an interesting observation that I actually was talking to Ryan about this was that because you're talking about how Seattle seems to be very non-confrontational in a way, and I guess in a way sensitive. But it's interesting because I think the younger generation is a lot less, at least for what I've noticed, at least, they seem to be a lot less sensitive. At least from the things that I think observed. I mean, it's like, it's like the Instagram reels that, college student age like me be sending and stuff is like, dang, dude. And then sometimes there'll be people that you'll like never expect like something. You're like, oh, what? It's like there's something that feels more, at least for what I've experienced, it seems very open and very less serious. I think it's how I would put it.
I agree, and I think there's more though.
How so?
I think to some extent they are less serious and they can joke about anything. Like they're not as sensitive. But that's only on social media.
Oh yeah.
And so there is a separation of persons there. So who they are on social media is not who they are in person. Now some qualities and characteristics can, cross over, of course. Let's say like somebody we know is like, let's use Ryan as an example. I use Ryan as an example because he's Ryan. Let's say Ryan is on social media and, he likes all this dark humor stuff, this wild stuff, and it's hilarious to us, right? And like that's his persona, Instagram. And then like he could watch the harsh stuff, he could watch the insensitive stuff. But then let's say like in person, let's say somebody confronts him about something, he just like shuts down. He's like, oh, I don't know what to do, right? And so I think social media in a way has created another form of ourselves that we can cultivate and create. But just because we create it there don't mean it's always going to transfer to the reality that we do live in. Yeah. And so I think to some extent, let's say like Gen Z, right? I think Gen Z is very sensitive. I also think they love dark humor. I think they can be like, you hop on social media and they can say the most hilarious stuff. I'm like, yo, that's funny. right? Or like, they'll talk all that stuff, but then in person, it's a different story.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's just the world we live in. Where like people just have different not different personalities, different versions of themselves because of social media.
Mm.
Maybe on Facebook they got that person. They are this person. Instagram they're this person. Snapchat they're a third person I never knew existed.
Yeah.
And then the fourth person is who they actually are in person.
Mm.
And so I think that's kind of what it is. Yeah. So on social media, it seems like they are so unserious. And to some that they are.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's a different story. Because we're also talking the same people that I don't make assumptions. No, I'm gonna make assumptions, especially because I worked at SPU. Some students can't read.
Really?
Some students can't read. Technology and social media and even AI has become too much of a convenience.
Oh yes.
And so now we're seeing a generation grow that is, and the thing is like I'm technically Gen Z, but I'm like early Gen. I'm like I'm like the borderline being a millennial. I wish I was neither, but yeah, like Gen Z is like everything is so convenient for them.
Yeah.
They're like now there's apps that will read your book for you. Now me, I'm a teacher. I love teaching and I love mentoring. And I love learning. And I actually am getting to it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got these apps that can read a book for you. And I'm like, but you didn't really understand the book. You could tell me like what it says and stuff like that, but can you in your own thinking, your own understanding, communicate what you like an idea that you think? And I think that's a growing issue is that people don't know how to think for themselves. Like if you listen to people, their thoughts are not their own. The thoughts is coming from somewhere else, and 9 times out of 10 is from social media.
Yeah.
That they place themselves in the same friend group that say the same thing or believe the same thing. And now they cultivated this thought or thinking that came from social media that is they put into the reality of life. And the hard part about that is that when they're confronted with the complete opposite, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They would say, you're wrong, or you're this and that, or they're just like, well, we can't be friends because you think like that. One is a minister in the Christian faith. That's not how we operate. Like I love the people who don't think like me. I'd rather be around the people that don't think like me. But this new generation we've been raised in is like completely different, and it's the same thing politically too. Unfortunately, so they're no role models here. Unfortunately,
man, our role model is AI.
See the AI Christ. Choose your role model.
You can't serve two masters.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think about that. And I think, unfortunately, I think we are growing in a world where, and I want to make sure I use I statements, but like I think and I believe that we're going in a world that is. I love how unserious they can be because I love humor.
Yes. But
when serious, especially in America, we're terrible people. We're idiots.
Yeah.
We're complete idiots. You can see when people are serious, you see how illiterate they are. You see how uneducated they are. Sometimes I don't think people hear themselves talk, and I'm just like, can you repeat your statement? And tell me, does that make sense to you? And matter of fact, tell me where you got that thought from. Because one thing I found out, and I learned this from my little brother, I don't know if they're teaching this new generation how to look up a reliable source.
Oh yeah.
Like you read these newspapers or these articles and stuff like that. I'm like, find out if it's a reliable source. Because there's a lot of lies out there. I'm like, people don't know how to do that. My brother went to Wikipedia and tried to tell me a fact. I'm like, where do you get that from? Wikipedia? I'm like, people go on Wikipedia and edit, right? Everybody edits on Wikipedia. Did you type in the information and see if any other articles said it? Reliable articles? Government articles? Education articles? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. That's the world going. That's the direction we're going in, I see. So, I think, and I say this to you because I think you're going to be a future Christian leader or pastor in this community too, at least in Seattle and in the U.S. But I think the generation that we have to minister to is going to be a tough generation.
It's very encouraging.
you got God on your side. That's the encouraging piece. Like people are gonna come to you for the wisdom. Like you gotta really badge yourself in Christ. But the generation we have to minister to is a tough generation. It is gonna be tough. Especially because of so many division, because people think they know what's right or wrong. And that was the problem with Adam and Eve, is like they thought like the serpent tricked them. Like they thought like, oh, we can have more. Like, we could do ourselves. We don't need God. A lot of people feel like that. Even if they are Christian, they feel like that.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. But the hope is Jesus is gonna make sure everybody get riled up in the right path. And I think we are here to be vessels of that path to stir people in the right direction. We're not gonna tell them don't follow me, but I'm gonna show you who to follow.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna help walk with you there. And that's kind of my theology of it. Because people got different situations too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
thank you for your word of advice.
Just minister to minister.
Auntie, I mean,
you just started seminary. You
got a long way to go.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, from the looks of it sounds like it's gonna get worse. Ashley, if you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Ashley, we love you.
Yeah. I love SPU.
Oh yeah, I would say this though. Something that is very encouraging about SPU is that SPU theological education is well rounded. And I say that because I talked to other folks from other seminaries, and I've seen some other seminaries like they are really built in to make you believe in what they believe. I think SPU gives you the resources, they teach you the tools, and they give you the space to talk out what you believe. Now they'll correct you of like, bro, that's like crazy. That's crazy doctrine, or like that's logically that's messed up, right? And or ethically or morally, that's a little sketchy, right?
Yeah.
But they create a space for you to like figure it out. Because a lot of times I think people assume like, yeah, you like, or saying like, we go to seminary, we got all the answers. I'm like, no, we wrestle. We wrestle with God to try to find the right understanding. And I think SPU does a good job of like teaching us a well-rounded Christianity and theological understanding and biblical. And then they give us the tools, the resources, and they walk with us to figure it out. Now, every once in a while, you get a professor who might say their own like thought, and they let it make clear that this is what I believe. But maybe for you, it may be something different, right? And that's okay, because some things are contextual. So that's why I would get SPU credit where credit is due. The SPU is not going to force the seminary. Let me be clear: the seminary is not going to force you to believe in one direction.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that for sure.
Yeah,
they're pretty ecumenical.
Very, 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 very.
I appreciate that. I think hearing different sides is really reassuring.
Oh yeah. Just let the Holy Spirit guide you. Yeah.
All right, so let's go do some reflection. Can you guess how long we've been here for?
I'm guessing 2 hours.
An hour and 52. Yeah, you're currently. This is going to be episode 4. Or you'd be my longest episode so far.
For those who are watching, if you can't stay the whole 2 hours, I understand.
I truly appreciate it if you're actually watching this. I have some pretty loyal fans, but I'm actually curious if they're going to watch the entire thing. I think Ryan asked me actually to get this on Spotify. Since he's like, Jacob, I have a request for more content for Junior Pastor Journeys. I actually found out that you can upload for free, but it's just that you might have to pay for. That's weird, but you can upload for free, but the way you upload, you might have to pay because it's like a different service. Or
I can see that.
That's like my brief Googling of it, but that's Hey,
you're the influencer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get monetized anytime soon. You guys want to donate to my Patreon? I was kidding. Thank you. Anything that helps. I think a question I had on my mind was presently, how would you say your, first conversion to Christ and then subsequent pursuit of ministry has affected your family? Do you think they've come closer to Christ? I'm very, that's a question that's been on my heart for ever since I heard about that. So very curious.
Yeah, it's tough. And I'll tell you how it is for me. So I don't, how do I say it? my family's interesting. So I think when I first accepted my call and I first announced it, and I really actually first announced it when I was called to be a minister. I think that was the part that shocked a lot of people. It was like, whoa, wait, what? Dianté, right? He's like that kid? Like 2 years ago, you was talking down on God's name like I was. And now I'm a changed man. Um, I think I get small glimpses of my family. I'm not gonna say they have not accepted. I think they have accepted. I think I get these small glimpses of like joy through faith with my family. Like if I go to like last time when Thanksgiving, I went to my sister's, and she was like, okay, she's Catholic, so she always called me deacon. I'm like, I'm a minister. Thank you. She's like Deacon Dancy. I'm like, no, it's a minister Dancy to you. But they're praying like you just kind of feel that spirit. My brother-in-law said, you praying every Thanksgiving. I'm like, there you go. So I get small glimpses here and there. Now I think the frustration is like I wish they understand more. Um, like for example, like my sister, my stepmom keep calling me deacon. Like I'm Baptist. Like the pastor's office and the deacon's office are two different offices. I'm not a deacon. I'm a minister, right?
Do you think they'll ever call you pastor?
If I maybe no, maybe, but I think I think they're always gonna call me deacon, and I'm like, you know what? I just accept what it is. That's the closest I get. They call me something of this church, right? And then but that's with like my sister and my stepmom. My brother, my one of my brothers and my dad is a different um take. I'll say brothers. My one of my older brothers and my little brother. So like for example, I had this weird conversation with my dad recently, and he didn't understand like thing like sexually, right? It's like, yeah, like back then before I was a Christian, like, yeah, I messed around and stuff like that. I'm like, now that I am a minister and stuff like that, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to wait till marriage. I want to like, like I get like, especially been having that experience, I know the effects of sex.
Yeah.
And I know the negative effects of sex. Like, yeah, it's temporary good, but like what it does spiritually, mentally and stuff, like it's different. Um, and then you get to like the parts of sin of it. And I remember my dad asked me like, okay, I get you chose your path, but why not have sex? I'm like, one, I mean, scripture. I mean, I think I don't fornicate. It's a sin, right? Yeah, so I'm like, and I'm like, I'm a minister, like I'm like, I'm a pastor, so I'm like, I can't be a hypocrite, like, because I mean, also, especially like there is like a portion of Christianity like they don't trust pastors or priests because of sex, right? That pastor is messing around with the women or the in his church, or the priest is messing with this child. It's wrong. And someone no, I'm held to a higher standard because of that status. And people are looking to me to be a leader. I can't be a hypocrite. So if I tell somebody like, no, like fornication is a sin, I also abide by that. Fornication, yeah, wait till marriage. Yeah. And there's reasons for that. I could give my whole theological basis of that. And then I remember my dad. My dad said it was such a guy thing, and I was like, you know what? I don't think this conversation is not gonna get to you're not gonna understand it, and I get that. I just accept that. He was like, and the thing is like he's engaged, so I'm like he's thinking about his like past days and stuff.
Yeah.
When he was younger, he's like, if I'm like dating someone, like I want the whole package, and I'm like, but you don't need the whole package, and we said package like he just means sex, like if he is there, like like why not have sex? It's the whole package. I'm like, okay, but sex is one out of 10 things that you need to probably focus on.
Yeah.
I could take sex out and wait till marriage. Just like other, like I need to know like how are you spiritually, like how like what are your daily life like? How are you as a person? What's your character as a person, right? Like there's so many things, right? And my dad was like, but like you get the whole package. You don't want the whole package. I'm like, it could wait. So I mean, I have conversations like that. I mean, it's authentic conversations. Just my dad being like, dad. And he was raised Catholic. I think I'll say he did influence why I love. He's one of the reasons why I do love history so much. And he said one of the reasons why he kind of is skeptical of Church of Christianity is because he felt when he was in the church, he knew certain things like historically that he felt like they weren't honest about. It's like, in, like, for example, like Crusades is one of them. There was another war that happened that he was like, so talk to me about this, and they didn't. And he was like, why are you hiding it? And so I remember when I first became a minister, he told me like, like one, he told me two things: don't ever change who you are. You're still my son. Cool, got it. I ain't gonna change who I am. Not like, no, you're you're my dad. I'm your son. That relationship will never change. But he also say like, him sharing that story of like why he doesn't necessarily trust the church or like, priests and pastors like that, made me think like, yeah, like how many other people feel that way? Like how many other people bring up the negatives? I mean, we see it today. Like when you bring up the negativity of what Christians done in the past, people are always trying to brush it. And I'm like, so I end up on the side like, no, like I will bring up the bad past because at some point as believers, we have to reconcile with that.
Yeah.
How many times did the Jews, especially around Jesus' time, have to reconcile? Think about Paul. He had to reconcile with all the ancestors. Abraham was a mess. Jacob was a mess. He was a mess. You got to reconcile with that.
Yeah.
Like everybody's not going to be perfect, but you look at the bad and look at what God has done, and you look at the good and you take the wisdom that was always there, right? But you can't ignore it, bad or good. You can't ignore it. Like the Crusades was a hot mess. The religious wars was a hot mess. Christianity involvement in slavery was a hot mess. Like, but you have to recognize that. Like, now that we're in this faith, the people, I'm African American, so the people who were slave masters and stuff or whipping black folks back then who were Christian and they're dead now, unfortunately, guess what? Like they are part of the Christian ancestry now. Like they are ancestors of the Christian faith.
Yeah.
Because they did have the faith. Now, whether it was a genuine or were they right, hey, I'm leave that to God. But look, it is what it is, and I will say like how it is. And people been hurt by the church. You got to admit that.
Yeah.
And then with my older brother, I have a problem with people who say like I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual but not religious.
Like New Age stuff, or
he said what?
Like New Age stuff, or
yeah. Or even just that phrase, I'm spiritual but not religious. Like, have you ever asked somebody what they mean when they say I'm spiritual but not religious?
Okay, I don't really meet those people that often.
I've met quite a few of them. Oftentimes, it comes down to their own judgment. So now I'm not denying anything. Like there could be something spiritual there. I'm not going to say that spiritual is the Holy Spirit, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to their own judgment. And I'm like, no. So I think my dad kind of operates in that way. My brother kind of operates in that way. And my brother would say things like, "Oh, like oh yeah, me and God have an understanding of each other." I'm like, y'all don't. Like, no, you don't. Like, you don't read scripture. You have not read it. You have you and God don't have no understanding. And I remember, I hate saying that, but like, it's true. Like, you can't hit me up and like, yeah, when I come out there, when he was single, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna come out there. We're gonna get a boat and we're gonna get the girls. I'm like, no, you're not. Like, you on your own. Like, it's like, I'm a minister. Why would I do that? He was like, no, like, you could come on. Like, he was like, no. He's like, I'm your brother. I'm like, but no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, that's why me and God have understanding. I'm like, but y'all don't. Like, I don't. You and God understand it. He will not let you do that. I don't. Like, you're not Solomon. Like, I don't. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I try not to convince my family because convincing them or even trying to teach them to some extent they feel like that I'm trying to force it onto them, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm just like, generally, and I also to say like part of it is my thing. Like when it comes to like my family and like having faith talks, I don't have the patience sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And so, especially when I recognize I don't have the patience, I'm like, oh, I can't engage in a conversation because it would not come out. I would not do God justice. But that's why I just appreciate the small moments that I do have, and I do pray that kind of like how Noah was, like when he took God's warning seriously and he was able to save his whole family.
Yeah,
I pray that I'd be as faithful and do right and please God enough that even if my family never does accept him in this on this earth, that through me he can forgive, like not necessarily forgive them. He will always be a forgiving guy, but like through me, like I also save their faith. And so part of me does like, I don't call it a burden because I'm like, no, that's my family. Like I will hold that burden.
Yeah.
Like, but I just wish that I do get to see them grow a little bit more in that area. Now my little brother Shamar, like he's not there yet, but like he's a smart idiot. But you know, when he's like serious and he asks a question, like it's good questions. Like I remember he's talking to me about some girl and he was like, I don't like lust. I'm like, keep going. Like, yeah, you're on the right track. Yeah. He was like, I don't like lustfulness and I don't want that from a girl. I'm like, yeah, bro, yeah. Like stay on that path, right? That way see how long you stay on that path. But you know, so I just take the small that I do see with family. And I try to like let them see as much as me as I can. I used to be afraid of letting them see me in my ministerial like setting. And so none of them have like seen me in person preach. None of them have seen me do ministry. Like they don't probably know what I do on a daily basis on a daily Sunday or food at the church. They just know I work there. They know I'm a minister. That's all.
Yeah.
I do pray that one day when they have the opportunity to fully see me in that effect, that they realize like who I actually am. Like sometimes I think they hold on to who I used to be. Like, you know, it's funny, like every time I see my family, sometimes they're like, you know, oh, yeah, Dianté, yeah, he's a hoe. Cause you know, I was like, yeah, I was used to be a playboy back in like, you know, when I was young, and I'm like, I'm not that person anymore, you know, like, and I think they still, because they've seen that person for so long, and they have not seen who I am now, they still have this image of me that died a long time ago. So I do pray that at some point they get to see me in that full ministerial presence, that they see like, oh, this is who he is. Like, yes, this is who I am. I've been like this for going on 5 years now. I mean, actually more. So like, but in all honesty, they just haven't had the opportunity, especially not in person. Like it doesn't need to be online. Like I need them to see it in person. And I'm not rushing now. Like when the Lord gives them that opportunity, He'll give them that opportunity. And so until then, I just try to, you know, be the best I can. It's not easy when it comes to family, though.
Yeah,
it's not easy at all. So, yeah.
Hope they come when you graduate, man. Your ceremony.
They need to come to my ordination.
Yeah, that's
no. I think my sister will be here on my graduation.
That's good.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah. But I think I'm more concerned about the men in my family. I think because my stepmom, she's part of like she is very heavily involved in the Catholic Church. Like she was the president of like their secretary conference, whatever council. I don't know what it was called. So like she's most definitely of faith, and she's most definitely involved in the Catholic Church, and I love that. So I'm not necessarily worried about the women in my family. It's the men. Yeah, because they're idiots, like all men are. I was an idiot. So. You're not an idiot.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So, what made you? Why is that question in your heart? Was it from pastoral care and counseling, or?
Well, it was about family, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I think pastoral care and counseling definitely influenced it, but I was just really curious about like the effects of. I mean, I think we talked about it in class about how you can't change your family dynamic, but you can change how you perceive the family dynamic and change in a positive way, and hope that kind of like leaches onto other people.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, yeah, I would say it's pretty influenced by it.
You know, biblically, there's a lot of scriptures about family that I don't think people notice. Like I know we went over the Jacob and Esau one. Like that's a messy family dynamic. But Esau did come to forgive Jacob. You know, embrace him again. Then you got like what I said before, Noah, because Noah took God's command seriously or warning seriously, before the flood, you know, he was able to save his whole family, right?
Yeah.
Or even think about is it Lydia who converted her whole household in Acts? Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, Lydia converted her whole household through hospitality. Then you think about Timothy. You know, Paul tells Timothy, like, you know, your faith, which comes from your faith, which comes from your grandmother, which comes from your mother, is in you too. And so faith, particularly with women, is passed down.
Mm.
So as at least as I see it, you have your two parents, like like your faith passes through the women, your heritage passes through the father,
Yeah.
or the men. Um, and so, yeah, I think there's more scriptures about family than people fail to realize. Um, and when you realize there's scriptures in there, like the messy families, the good of it, it kind of gives you more hope.
Yeah.
Like, okay, God knows how to deal with messy families.
Interesting.
Because at first I thought he didn't, but he does. Yeah.
It reminds me of that statistic. I remember I saw on Instagram, so who knows if it's true. I mean, I feel like it makes sense, but it was like it's kind of like a chart, and it says that if if the father converts first, it's like 95% chance that the entire family converts, and I think if it's like the mother, it's only 5%, and then the kid is like 2%. So it's just something that reminded me of. But two last questions. No rush, but I do gotta. I kind of regret drinking a lot of water. So, but I can hold it. Don't worry. It's for the sake of the interview. So, uh, first question for one of two before we wrap up. You gotta give us a brief. You kind of alluded to it throughout our conversation, but can you give us a brief overview of what your future in ministry, and you're talking about missions and stuff too before, so
Yeah. Actually, like at least the future. I do have the call to go overseas and do more like stuff,
you know where?
and I don't know where. I'm still waiting on that myself.
Any preferences, I guess?
I mean, I have preferences. So, like, I mean, in terms of, like areas or regions, like most definitely like Asia, Middle East, and Latin America.
Oh yeah.
Those are like the three places, like or regions that I'm like, okay, I hope I find myself in that in the future.
Yeah.
But I remember, God gave me this vision, right? And I prayed about doing international work for a while, but like when God confirmed it, He gave me this dream of me in some village, and I just remember there being different folks from different races, folks from different religions. Yet I was the only Christian there, and they was pressing me on like, "What's so great about your religion? Jesus and stuff like that." And I remember I got excited talking about it because they haven't heard it from the Christian perspective.
Yeah.
And as the more as I talked, the more I was passionate about it, the more they came closer and engaged with it. Um, and then it was like a very spiritual dream. Then I like woke up and I was like, whoa. I was like, that was random. Like, where did that come from? And I prayed and I was like, God, I made sure I was like, God, is this, I just want to confirm that you are confirming the call.
Yeah.
The Lord spoke to me back. I was like, yeah, no, this is the call. And I was like, okay, and I stick with that. Now, as every Christian who is called wants to know is like the details, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, Lord, when, where, how, what do I need? And Lord is like, okay, I ain't gonna tell you nothing. I'm like, but Lord. And so right now I'm in that season of like, I'm just waiting. Like I'm doing the things that I know needs to happen first. I need to graduate seminary first. I know I need to be ordained first. Like those are part of the callings. Then once that happens, then when the Lord gets to the time to say like, okay, I'm ready for you to go.
Yeah.
I will go. And I don't know what that will be, but I will follow. I will be obedient and follow. Yeah. Until then, I'm just here in Seattle doing the best I can.
Yeah. Graduate, get ordained.
Graduate, get ordained, help these folks out, continue to build bridges, Yeah. Maybe do more stuff with church soon, when I get the capacity to do. So, yeah.
What time is your church services on Sunday?
11.
11?
Yeah. Well, our service is like an hour and a half, so it's not a long service at all. Yeah.
Hey man, if you ever want to speak here, I can just ask leadership. They'll probably let you in.
I'll think about
it. I think we should. I've always wanted more diversity on the pulpit. So wait, not like.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm the token guy, No, you're fine.
Yeah, you can be it. Okay, last thing. To end off our interview, I would. I guess talking to the person behind the screen. I think specifically, I guess, what are some lasting words you have? And then also, what are some lasting words you might have for somebody who maybe grew up in a similar situation like you, grew up in gang violence and felt like they couldn't get out of it, or they were too deep into it and they're doing all these things. Like, what's just something that you want to tell them and then the broader audience overall?
Yeah. First, to the people who may be experiencing the same thing I've been through or something similar, right?
Yeah.
Even when you think there's no hope, there's still hope.
Mm.
I think too quickly in those environments, you start to see yourself as a statistic.
Oh, yeah.
Like I did. Like I thought I was a statistic. I thought I was either going to be in dead or in jail. And by the grace of God, neither one happened. Even when I did have handcuffs on, I never got convicted. And I do say that's the grace of God. And so even when you think there's no hope, even when you like giving up, know that the Lord has not given up on you. And the Lord will do these subtle things, and you may not know it, but like He is consistently and always interacting with your life.
Yeah.
Like when I first got shot at, I never would have thought. I'm thinking like I just got lucky. I was behind the garbage can. Dude missed all his shots. When I look back at it, I'm like, yo, those bullets should have probably went through that garbage can, right? And I'm like, the Lord saved me. Like, and the Lord not only saved me, but He saved me from someone who tried to murder me. And then He saved me from myself, from me committing murder after.
Yeah.
And so, and I would never have known that if I have not reflected on my story along with God.
Yeah.
Now in those moments it's tough, but you got to know that God is always present. Even when you feel like He's not, He is always present. Like Job complained and lamented for such a long time, yet the Lord is still present. And there is true hope. And even for the people who may have lost their lives and due to those circumstances, kind of what I said, what God told me about my friend Brian, where they died, all the struggles they died with also goes away. So we have to understand that like the restoration that is in heaven is beyond our understanding, but yet it's so real.
Yeah.
Like God is forever restoring. Like that's when say like, I think about like this, and this is where I'm getting to like the broader audience, right? You think about heaven and hell, and too quick people want to give you the imagery, right? And I'll put it like this: hell, especially how they understand it back in scripture, like Hades, is the place further away from God.
Yeah,
it's the wasteland. There's no joy. There is empty. The place, heaven, the place is closest to God. It's all the joy. It's all the love. It's all there. And I truly believe that God's hope is that we all make it to heaven. We make it to heaven where we may have been enemies. We are now friends. We are now brothers. And that's why when Revelation say like the heavens is going to come down to earth, that is the complete restoration of what God always intended. And I think we should be wise and remember that. We should always remember that the restoration will come. And that has always been God's plan. So when you think you may be losing hope, don't lose hope yet. Just, keep fighting, keep the endurance of the faith, keep enduring the struggles. And like that song, Jonathan Moreno say, like God is good. Even on your bad days, God is good. Prove your entire life. Let your life prove that God is good. And so, I had some bad days, but my entire life will prove that God is good. And I pray that the same is for y'all.
All right. Wow. That was a really great interview we had. It was very wonderful to be able to listen to your testimony, but also just whatever past that, like what you're currently doing now and all your insights. It was very wonderful. Thank you guys for watching. We've hit the 2 hour and 18-minute mark. This is I think going to be the longest episode for a while. I feel like we'll see. Who knows? Maybe someone will beat you. But
you got the minister up here talking. I'm over here like preaching, theologically thinking. I'm like, you gotta set limits for me, man.
When this guy started busting out Jacob and Esau, and we go be here a while. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please like, subscribe, and share. I'm hoping to get more content like this out, to be able to get more testimonies like this out, to hear how God has changed people's lives, how God has touched us with his light. And yeah, hoping to get on Spotify and podcasts. So, Ryan, shout out to you. And with that, please remember to always rejoice. Thank you.